Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Sean O'Connell Show. Hopefully you're having a good Friday. Maybe you're cutting out early. Watch a little PGA Championship. You know where is a great place to take in the golf? If you can't go to Aronimink, which, of course, you're not. Big Willie's, 1717 South Main. They've got lunch specials. They've got giveaways. They've got drink specials. They've got a pool hall for when you get a little bit bored of watching Scotty Scheffler choke away this turn. Just kidding. I don't know if Scotty's going to recover or not. In any case, Big Willie's is always the right place for you to watch any of your favorite sports. You've got some NBA basketball playoffs on tonight that you can check out down there at 1717 South Main. Chances are several of you were there last night for the closeout game for the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Holy goodness. I thought that was going to end up being a much better series than it was. And look, credit to Anaheim for stealing a couple of games. Vegas, I'm still not convinced now that they've advanced to the Western Conference Final. I'm still not 100% convinced that they can dethrone the mighty Colorado Avalanche. But they did to Anaheim, the Vegas Knights did, what they did to Utah Mammoth. They saw a slightly faster, slightly more skilled team, and they said, you know what, we're not going to let them get into their game. We're not going to let them impose any kind of speed on us, impose any kind of skill advantage over us. We're not going to let them move through the neutral zone comfortably and fast. We're going to harass and harangue them when they're in their own zone on our forecheck. And then when we get into the neutral zone, we're going to be poking the puck away, and we're not going to allow them to possess and to build any kind of system. And that's exactly how it worked. And a big reason why it worked that way is because in last night's game, Mitch Marner, who was one of the most important acquisitions in Las Vegas Golden Knights franchise history, which is really saying something. Mitch Marner scored with a minute into the game. Beautiful, beautiful nastiness, just juking a defender and then the goaltender out of his shorts. Carter Hart, by the way, last night, I don't know how many games I've watched in the last couple years, especially of NHL, but especially like going back my whole life, I don't know how many times I have seen a goaltender's mask fly off in a game. It's a rare occurrence. For obvious reasons, those things are incredibly secure. Twice in the same game, second period first, and then in the third period, he ripped off his own helmet while the Anaheim Ducks had the puck in the offensive zone. Carter Hart's skate broke. The skate blade comes flying off. So he's one-footed, and he's trying to signal to the referee. He's trying to signal, hey, because, you know, an equipment fault, it's a stoppage. It's kind of the same thing as when the goal itself, the standard, gets blasted off its moorings and they have to reset things. And the way that he decided to grab the attention was to pull his own mask off and wave it around. In an unfortunate scenario, you could have incorrect timing on that, and I'm sure he read where the puck was, but he gets a delay of game penalty as a result, and we all got to learn, if you were watching, how quickly they can replace a skate blade in modern NHL hockey.
That's a little, given that it should be a stoppage anyway, that's a tough penalty to give. That's a tough penalty to take. I feel like
yes, but also like he's lost the blade on his skate, and yes, the referee is supposed to notice an equipment malfunction. But like, remember when Veggie lost his paddle when his stick is gone?
Yeah, but that's not the type of thing where that should be stopped anyway, right? We're talking about helmet flying off, a skate coming loose like that. Like, I don't know if yes, I understand you technically caused a delay of game by taking off your helmet and waving it around, but you were only doing that to alert the refs of what should already be a stoppage. I don't know. That's because that's a 4-on-5 that they had to take because of that. That's tough, I feel like, but they won anyway. So
they were
who
up
cares?
5-1 at the time,
yeah, who
so
cares?
it kind of didn't matter.
I'm sure they didn't care as much as I'm caring about it right now.
Oh, okay. Here, so this is why he decided to take the penalty. According to NHL Rule 14.1, play continues despite equipment issues. The onus is on the player to get to the bench. The exception is if a goaltender's mask comes off, creating a safety hazard. So a blade on the ice isn't a safety hazard. Okay. That's so weird. Whatever. Like if
I said,
a player loses a blade, they're expected to hobble to the bench or continue playing similar to a broken stick. But if you're the goaltender and you can't move in the crease anymore because you have purchase on one side and not the other, the way that you stop play is you pull your mask off.
That's so
because
crazy.
that is a safety hazard, and that's what Carter Hart did. Earlier, it was his own defenseman. It was Hannafin battling. I can't remember which duck was in front of him, but they're battling for the puck in front of the net, and his stick ends up hooking underneath the chin guard, the throat guard of Carter Hart, and he keeps going up and just rips the helmet off. And I was like, whoa, you don't see that very often. And then we don't see goaltenders' faces very often. You saw it twice in one game. And by the way, the manner in which he was able to scoot himself off the ice, it just, one thing that you get reminded of with hockey players is just how much hockey these guys have played. Like, all of them know how to play without a stick. It's obviously not ideal, but everyone in the NHL knows how to play without a stick.
Except for goaltenders, apparently.
Well, except
because that's so rare.
Karel
right?
Vinoka. But but we see broken sticks all the time. You see guys lose a stick all the time, and you watch them, and you're just like, oh, okay, so he still knows how to make himself at least like 50% effective.
Yeah, he
without
knows how
the
to
most important tool in the game.
He knows how to body check someone. You don't need a stick for that.
And watching Carter Hart scoot himself, like, when babies crawl funny. I think you and I have talked about this.
Yeah, my boy right now, crawls with one leg, and his other leg, like it works in all other contexts, but when he's crawling, he's got it like stuck underneath him. It's the cutest thing ever.
That is exactly what Carter Hart did to get. Maybe he was watching your nanny cam or something, because he just puts his knee on the ice, which of course he's got these huge blockers on his knee, right? And then he uses the other skate and just and slides himself over to the bench. They put the blade back on. He takes the penalty, which, of course, when a goaltender takes a penalty, somebody else skates off the ice. The goaltender gets to stay. In any case.
Or you should have to put in your backup at that point, right? The guy who takes the penalty should be in the penalty box. But like I said, I think I'm probably more concerned about how that was officiated than the Knights were, given like what you said, they were up 5-1 and barely any time left.
Well, I think there's only so much John Tortorella can protest when his goaltender pulled his own mask off.
Right. It's it. I don't know. I think they should. I think whatever the NHL calls it, their rules committee. In the NFL they call it competition committee. Whatever that is, they should probably look at, hey, when there's a really sharp razor blade on the ice, maybe that should be an automatic stoppage too.
When there's a 6-inch long shard of hardened steel,
a literal dagger without a handle on the ice.
Not a safety hazard, guys.
Nope.
Play on.
Just when the helmets are off, even though they played without helmets for 50 years, whatever.
Well, Skategate notwithstanding, the important thing in this series is that Vegas has moved on. They've closed out their series. We now have a Western Conference Finals matchup. You can also go see that at Big Willie's. You can listen to that. Where can people listen to that, James?
Yeah, so Western Conference Finals set. Eastern Conference Final is about to be set potentially tomorrow night. We'll have Game 6 of the Canadiens and Sabres, potential closeout game tomorrow night at 5:30. If there's a Game 7, I believe that'll be Monday, and we'll have that on the station if that's the case. But we're home every game of the Eastern and Western Conference Finals here on the station, and the Stanley Cup Finals. The Western Conference Final will begin Wednesday, the 20th, next Wednesday. The Eastern either Tuesday if the series ends tomorrow, or Thursday if the series ends after 7 games. So we'll have every game of the conference finals, some NBA as we can. If we're not able to clear the NBA games, those will be on our other station on the network, ESPN The Fan, 103.9 and 98.3 FM.
On the show today, Bill Riley, voice of the Utes, joins us. Tony Jones. We intended on catching up with Tony Jones a little earlier in the week. Schedules made it so we get to him here on a Friday. Looking forward to that conversation. We've got our airing of grievances. We're bumping it up to 1 o'clock because Paul Pugmire could only join us at 1:30. We'll talk golf with Paul Pugmire and update you on the PGA Tour leaderboard throughout the show.
What a lot going on, by the way. You got a golf major. We're about to be in the conference finals for both NBA and Stanley Cup playoffs. Like, there's a lot to pay attention to, a ton to talk about. Great time of year for us.
Yeah, May and early June are actually, I think, a little underrated for sports. And obviously, there's an absence of NFL and college football, which
schedule release though.
Well, if you're paying attention to social media, especially, the schedule release for the NFL is absolutely it's fantastic, and a bunch of teams did a really great job. A bunch of teams are justifiably being criticized for not putting the requisite amount of effort into it. The Tennessee Titans social media team is just awesome. They're going all the way back to, was it 2023, their video where they were showing people who are not football fans the logos.
Oh, yeah.
The Lightning McQueen lady. That one is still the GOAT. That one is still the best schedule release video that we have ever seen.
That's like Jimmy Kimmel and maybe other late night hosts have done that. Like, who's this guy? And they're like, is that Mickey Mouse? Like,
yeah. The Man on the Street comedy is some of my favorite stuff. And actually, Magician on the Street comedy is also some of my favorite stuff. Like David Blaine just showing up in random neighborhoods and blowing people's minds.
And you have that parody YouTube channel that I binged in high school. What the F, David Blaine?
I don't think I saw that.
Making fun of him.
I don't think I ever saw that. But even the ones that people didn't love, I loved. Some of the ones people loved, I was like the LA Chargers have an elite reputation with these schedule release videos, and they pay a lot of attention to detail. I didn't play Halo. I never played Halo. They have a Halo-themed schedule release video this year that I imagine if you are among the 90% of 25 to 50-year-old males, you played Halo at some point in your life, I'm sure you loved that video. I'm sure that really resonated with you. I never played Halo, so I was just like, but you can still find the clever little Easter eggs in there. I think we're the only team that threw a little bit of a tiny little subtle jab at the Patriots with the Mike Vrabel, Diana Rossini thing.
I'm a little surprised the Titans didn't go there, given that he's no longer the Titans head coach, but Vrabel's still known as being part of that franchise in a lot of ways.
I think if it had better fit the theme that they went with, which was lookalikes.
Yeah.
You know what they should have, would have been really messed up? Is they just posted Diana Rossini's husband as the Mike Vrabel lookalike.
Ooh. Yeah, that would have been.
It's like a little too far.
I'm sure that was in the brainstorming session, and there's a few people like, I don't know.
And by the way, the NFL's official stance was we are not going to vet people's schedule release videos. We are not going to double check. We're going to leave it to the creativity and the discretion of these teams.
Trust their teams
to decide whether or not.
Yeah.
And I think the right thing to do is what everyone did and either ignored it or were like pretty harmless with their references to it. There's like a New York Post thing for the Halo release, and it's kind of like in the background.
Okay.
There's a playlist reference in the credits.
All right.
So you really have to be digging, and it's not like right in your face.
Is there a
like
baby,
my suggestion would have been
baby with a name tag that says Mike maybe somewhere?
Gosh.
No, that would have
See,
been
that's
in
a little
poor
bit too on
taste.
the nose. It's a little too on the nose, especially given the most recent question and controversy surrounding that whole thing.
Yeah.
But
I probably should have hit the dump button right after I said that.
no, I don't think we're going to alienate too many Patriots fans out here in Salt Lake City. But the NFL is such a tight circle that if you're the guy or the gal who is behind the video making like on the nose fun of Mike Vrabel, at some point he might be the reason you don't get a job.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful about burning those bridges.
Even with these creative teams people, for sure. Like
Absolutely.
They obviously being at least in anonymous graces with if not really good graces with all the head coaches is probably really important.
It's kind of like an offensive lineman. A head coach is never going to pay attention to the social media, the graphics person, the whatever. A head coach is never even going to know that name unless you do something wrong, or in their eyes wrong, right?
Yeah. You got to be careful, yeah.
Mike Vrabel is never going to know the name of the Patriots schedule release person unless the Patriots schedule release person puts something bad, or the Titans schedule release person would be a more accurate.
What would have been really ballsy, and I would have been here for it, is if the Patriots had made fun of the Diana Rossini, Mike Vrabel situation.
That a little self-deprecation would have gone a long way here. And I encourage you, go watch all of them. There's a bunch of different websites who've compiled all of them. Go watch all of them.
Or just, at New England Patriots, at LA Chargers on social media. I'm sure you'll be able to find them in all their
Any NFL team has it on their official social media feed. The New York Giants, no one's talking about that one. That was funny. Jameis Winston. It was sponsored by Pictionary. Jameis Winston went out and was drawing like clues to get people to guess. And Jameis Winston is absolutely hilarious, and the guesses are absolutely hilarious. No, I haven't heard anyone else talking about that one. I really loved that one.
Jameis Winston needs to become the Charles Barkley of NFL media.
Absolutely.
When now, because he's not really playing, but anytime he decides he doesn't want to be on the team and holding a clipboard, he absolutely needs to be. That needs to be his next career move.
The thing about Charles Barkley that makes him successful, and the thing about Jameis Winston that would make him successful in media, is that he's in on the bit, right?
Yeah.
Charles Barkley is comfortable laughing at himself, right? Did you watch the Comedy Central roast of Kevin Hart?
No, I missed it.
Or have you watched the most recent episodes of Inside the NBA when Draymond Green was filling in?
Yeah. Draymond's not in on the bit.
Draymond's not in on the bit. He can't laugh at himself. He's not cool. He's not nice. He's not funny.
Maybe he will be someday when he's not a player. I don't know if I believe that, but he's not right now.
But Jameis Winston knows that he's being he amplifies his personality, which is already pretty loquacious and wild. He amplifies it for the cameras another however many percent, and by doing so, he signifies to us that he's in on the bit, that he knows, and that he knows that he's trying to get a laugh. He's being the class clown. He's the lovable jock who probably got bad grades but made the teacher laugh, so he passed. You know what I mean? That Jameis Winston has been in this role for how long before we knew him, I imagine, and he's awesome at it. So the Giants did a great one. The Jets one is actually a lot more clever than anyone gave it credit for. I'm actually going to quiz you on the Jets schedule release, James. I hope you didn't see the notes that I put in.
I did not see them. I'm not looking at them right now.
But the main point of the schedule release videos being a topic of conversation on virtually every sports talk show today has very little. I mean, the creative teams do a good job, and good for them. But what it is it's the NFL eventizing every single thing they do, keeping themselves relevant every single month of the year. If it's not free agency, it's the draft. If it's not the draft, it's the combine. If it's not the combine, it's a trade deadline. If it's not any of those things, it's a bunch of graphics on a social media platform.
Training camp is another one that they've made an event, which is should be super boring for us, but they've made it a big deal because they have a reporter giving you updates every day on it.
It's the reason why the NFL and why football by extension has become America's pastime. Why it leapfrogged over baseball 50 years ago, why it leapfrogs and stays ahead of basketball, because the NFL, and I guess you give commissioners credit first and foremost, I don't know, but at some point there was clearly a decision made that the NFL was going to make us care about everything, make it feel like a massive event. And as college football tries to figure out a way to survive, as different programs and different conferences especially try to figure out a way to maintain relevance and to keep themselves in the front of mind and all that stuff, as professional franchises like the Utah Jazz and the Washington Wizards and some of these other kind of bottom dwellers, hire somebody who worked for the NFL. Hire somebody who at least is a massive NFL fan and just say, try to capture an iota of this magic. Just a tiny little piece of it. And I get it. There will be some criticism, well, you're just copying the NFL. You know what I want now, James, from the Big 12 all the time? I want this. I want the Big 12 office, I want Brett Yormark to make a phone call and say, look, you've got a campus full of creative filmmakers, graphic designers, video gamers, whatever. I want a schedule release video like you're in the NFL. I want that, Utah. I want that, like BYU. Go ahead and poke fun at yourself. You know what the BYU one should be, James? It's the easiest one in the world. It's a mission call for every single week.
Absolutely. You are assigned to serve in the Texas Fort Worth TCU campus.
And of course you have the family be like, ugh.
You have
been assigned to labor in the Salt Lake City Rice Eccles mission. And then everyone just be, oh no.
Oh no.
And the missionaries say, I'm not going. Or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're welcome, BYU.
You're expected to serve a term of 1 week. Whatever.
We've seen this from NFL schedule release videos. They just throw like the famous food from that city on a plate, and they say, this is where you're going.
That could be that you could just have a big vat of fry sauce
for
Salt Lake.
Skyline chili.
You could have a cougar
Texas
tail,
barbecue.
Cougar tail or Graham Canyon for BYU.
Dude, you know how cool a Utah schedule release video with a giant cougar tail, right? November 9th. Cougar tail and a big old red cleaver chops it in half. Yes,
with as you said, dipping it in jelly.
Yeah,
jelly flies out of it. It's a jelly filled cougar tail that just
it's bleeding. I mean, and the thing is, does it actually change a dang thing for your football team, for your conference? Is there a concrete, will it bring in more revenue? Will it give you better access to the college football playoff in the short term? Obviously not. But you know what it does? It makes people think about you and talk about you. And there is this subliminal effect in sports that we, I think, fail to appreciate how important it is. The Dallas Cowboys are talked about nonstop. I can't stand the Cowboys, okay? I have never once rooted for anything that the Dallas Cowboys do. We're going again to Big 12 Media Days at a Dallas Cowboys facility. I'm like, I don't even like being here. You know why I have that, visceral reaction to it? Because it's always there. Because I am forced to think about them, and I don't like them. So my reaction is the ultimate negative, right? But I'm paying attention because love and or hate, they're equally passionate feelings on the opposite ends of the same spectrum, right? The NFL makes you think and talk about the NFL, even when you don't realize you have any interest thinking and talking about the NFL. Like, a viral schedule release video doesn't change whether or not you're going to win games. Doesn't change whether or not you're going to get invited to the college football playoff. Doesn't change whether or not your team is going to figure things out in a year where you have a brand new head coach for the first time in 21 years. But especially for the Big 12 conference, especially for the ACC conference, you have to find a way to make people talk about you and think about you. And it's much better if it's in a positive light. And even if they're just like, well, this is just copying the NFL. Okay, fine. But was it creative? Was it fun? Did you spend 5 minutes watching it? And do you now know a little bit more about the Utah-BYU rivalry? Do you now know a little bit more about who Texas Tech is going to be playing in week 1? Well, the answer is probably yes. And that is something the NFL has absolutely perfected in a way that not only other sports leagues haven't, other sports entities haven't. I don't know that other businesses are even capable of this. I don't think about Coca-Cola nonstop. Coca-Cola doesn't like eventize. What happens when they release a new flavor? It shows up in your grocery store.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, weird.
Maybe a commercial.
I wonder if the coconut cream Diet Coke is good. And then you buy it, and because you're like, all right, there's some reputational equity in my mind about I usually like the taste of the things that they put out there. Oreos. I'm a big-time Oreos guy. I'm a big-time alternate flavor Oreos guy. You know what happens when they release an alternate flavor, James? Nothing. They just put it on the shelves in the store. Do you know how much cooler it would be if they eventized every one of those things? The Winter Classic that I just bought tickets for yesterday, do you know why they can charge $570 per ticket for a row 46 seat?
That's very specific that you know that price like that.
Do you know why they were able to do that and why they've continually been able to do that in every market, in every city, every year? Because they turned the Winter Classic into a special event.
Yeah, I mean, just within the NFL schedule release, they've added another day of Thanksgiving week football. We now have pre-Thanksgiving football. We have post-Thanksgiving football with Black Friday, and of course, we still have Sunday. Like
it turns out what we actually want as sports fans and as Americans especially is we just want events.
Yeah. My something to feel big, something to feel cool.
My best friend's little sister, Missy Moss, you're the best, wrote a book about the St. George Marathon and lessons that she learned running the St. George Marathon. And there's a chapter in there called Silver Balloons. Apparently on the St. George Marathon route, there are silver balloons marking the miles or whatever. And this chapter in her book is about how you need things to look forward to. The metaphor is obvious, right? For her running the marathon, seeing one of those silver balloons meant, oh my gosh, I just crossed off another mile. This is amazing. All of us in our daily lives, man, I really needed a carrot to dangle in front of myself. I got 6 more weeks of work until I go on that Disneyland vacation. Or maybe you're dreading the Disneyland vacation because why wouldn't you? Like, I really need the boys trip that happens, the golf trip I'm taking 2 weeks after the Disneyland vacation or whatever, right? You need these little carrots, and the NFL has figured it out. They've formalized it. They've made it official where it's just like, here are your milestones. Here are your events. It is the Super Bowl, and then we don't even take a break. After the Super Bowl, it's like, now let's get ready for the combine. Now let's get ready for the draft. Now let's get ready for the free agency windows. Now let's get ready for the schedule release day, which is just social media posts. And here we are loving it, hating it, but thinking about it, talking about it. Copycat this, Brett Yormark and Big 12 and President Randall, Mark Harlan. Just shamelessly copy it. Maybe BYU will make fun of you for it, but you will be the one talked about.
Maybe it could be some kind of thievery themed one. I'll just leave that there. I'll say this too. On the Dan Patrick Show, Rich Eisen flew out to wherever is it Milford, Connecticut, where the man cave is for Dan Patrick. He flew out because he's doing a series of interviews of former SportsCenter anchors, a podcast for ESPN. And so he was in person on the Dan Patrick show today, and Dan asked him, like, why is this an event? And Rich said, Rich, obviously, Mr. NFL Network, super excited to answer the question. He's like, because we launched NFL Network and we had nothing. We had nothing to get people interested to keep watching football after. Like, we launched the day after the Super Bowl, the Janet Jackson Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay. And he said we had nothing to keep people, no reason to keep people interested in continuing to watch football, other than they still had the combine and the pre-draft process and stuff. But it wasn't like it was today. And he said we decided, especially after the draft, we needed something to keep people interested in football. And so he and his team at NFL Network, I'm sure the commissioner's office had a role in it as well. They kind of he took credit for, we made this an event, and it's become even like bigger than it's ever been over the last few years here with social media.
How many millions of impressions, and the currency of the day is attention. How many millions of impressions and engagements is the NFL and its individual franchises getting because of that idea from Rich Eisen and his crew? I mean, millions. And the dollars come with those millions of impressions.
They did this in the summer of 2004, so well before social media was a thing. So they did not envision what this has become for social media, and yet that's what it's turned into, a big social media event.
All right, we got to take a break. Bill Riley, the voice of the Utes, is going to join us next. We're just getting started on a Friday. It's the Sean O'Connell Show, ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM. Welcome back to the Sean O'Connell Show. Welcome in the voice of the Utes, Bill Riley, in a conversation brought to you every week by our friends at Handy and Handy, HandyLawUtah.com. Bill Riley, welcome to the show. How are you?
Sean O'Connell, I'm doing great. Thanks to Preston and Garrett for sponsoring this segment. Handy and Handy, good dudes.
The schedule release videos in the NFL get a lot of play, a lot of love, a lot of conversation. How did your Chiefs do in your mind?
I didn't watch any of the others. I was calling baseball last night. Big win for the Utes over Baylor in Game 1. So I didn't see anything really in real time, and not being on social media anymore, I don't get inundated with them. I watched the Chiefs. I thought they did pretty well. I'm a big Rob Riggle fan. I thought they did a little throwback to the old QVC days. I thought it was pretty funny. Did you watch that one?
I did. I liked QV Chiefs and the sort of like resentment, tension, comedic resentment between the host, the Rob Riggle host, and his ex-wife, who was the Gail. It was a good little bit. I liked it.
I thought they did pretty well. I know the Chargers always have a really good social media department. Did you see the Chargers? Did they do well with theirs? They always do pretty well.
The Chargers.
I did see a little bit of Peyton Manning. I watched like a minute and a half. It wasn't good. I didn't think the Broncos did well. I like Peyton Manning. His daughter was cute. I thought the video was not very well executed in the 90 or so seconds before I shut it off.
The only one that I liked in the Denver Broncos was they had Jake Plummer as like a conspiracy show host, and that is perfect because for any of you out there, I mean, it's a deep cut, but for any of you out there, Jake Plummer, the longtime Cardinals quarterback, is now a shrooms farmer. He grows psychedelic mushrooms, so of course he would be the guy hosting a conspiracy television series. So pretty good.
That's right on brand for Plummer.
Yeah, pretty good stuff. The Chargers one is Halo themed, like the video game Halo, and as such is a little bit lost on me. Like there's some clever Easter eggs in it. The 49ers level, for example, is you have to escape the electrical substation that is hurting everyone at practice. So I like that. I liked the nod to some of those storylines, but I never played Halo because, I got out of video games. But anyway, good stuff.
I was always a sports video game guy. Tiger Woods, Madden, baseball. I didn't do the shooter games. I didn't do any of that stuff.
Okay, so we were talking about like. The reason these are relevant is not because it partially because the creative teams with these NFL franchises are so good at their jobs, but also because the NFL has, more than anyone else in sports, they've eventized their calendar. They've made it a big deal no matter what they're doing. I mean, guess what, everyone? This is the team that's going to be on season 57 of Hard Knocks. Debate. And it's just, okay, like we just do it. We do what the NFL tells us, and they have eventized everything in sports. Is it something that the Big 12 could potentially capture? Is that they're not the first movers on it? Could you copycat it at Utah football? Could you copycat it in the Big 12 and catch even a little bit of the same kind of enthusiasm and conversation?
I'm surprised Brett Yormark hasn't tried to do that because he's always right out front and trying to be cutting edge, even if some of it falls short with, football games in Dubai and things like that. I don't know that that's necessarily going to catch on, but I think it'd be great because nobody else really does it. And the NFL we know what the NFL, they make the draft an event, the schedule really, everything is a huge event. I think you could have some fun. You get the league together, get everybody on the same page, and have a fun schedule release deal. I think you could have some fun with it.
So we're in the only dark time right now for college football where, everyone's finishing up school. They're keeping their head down. They're lifting. They're developing. The strength coaches are arguably the most important person on a football staff this time of year, and obviously a change was made at the University of Utah in that department. But, with the new bodies that have come in and with some of the guys that we talked about during spring ball, who do you think makes the most growth this time of year? Who did you watch in spring ball and say, man, that's going to be a great player, but they need 10 more pounds of muscle on him? Or I need that guy to go to speed school and get that first step a little bit quicker, which, of course, is the work that's being done this time of year.
I think it's probably the interior guys. I think it's probably the linemen. The guys that were transfers from maybe smaller programs or a different level program, or the offensive linemen that are new to the program. I think it's probably those guys. I think the guys on the outside, the receivers, the corners, guys like that, they're already pretty good athletes. I think it's more learning playbook and scheme with those guys. I think if you're coming from, say, Wyoming or San Jose State or Utah State or North Texas, I think you're probably pretty good at what you do, but you're leveling up in physicality and competition playing at a Power 4 school. So I think those guys probably using a little bit more time in the weight room and with the strength and conditioning coaches, they probably benefit the most. Would you agree?
I agree. And, like you got this big 5-star Kelvin Obot. He's already got an impressive body, but Kelvin Obot is in that time of life with a great lifting program and good nutrition, which, of course, Chef Pete and company up there at the facility make sure you have all the time. We could see him – the last time we saw him, spring showcase to fall camp, that could be like 10 or 15 pounds of muscle on somebody with his frame. So I'm eager to see what they can do. Jai Moy is another guy, like you said, great player, great technique, but he's going to have to be physically stronger to play in the Big 12 than in the Mountain West Conference. So I think you hit that one on the head. You got to get these guys to be able to handle the physical rigors of Power 4 football, not just the mental and playbook capacities as well.
Yeah, a guy like Ethan Day, he was a really good, uber-fast athlete at North Texas. Had 5 or so sacks last year. Had a good spring, but he's going to be going against Power 4 level tackles, guys that he wasn't seeing when he was at North Texas. So a little, the quickness, sure, he's probably got that, but maybe a little bit stronger in refining that just a little bit as well.
I saw this from Ross Dellinger just before our conversation started. The folks at Texas Tech and the NCAA have been informed by Brendan Sorsby and his legal team that they are going to make a motion for a quick resolution on his upcoming eligibility question, because obviously he checked into a rehab facility for a gambling addiction. It was found that he had placed thousands of bets on sports on his own university when he was at Indiana, underage betting. I mean, there's like 7 different things that he wasn't supposed to be doing in regards to betting that he was doing. But they want this to be resolved, presumably before the season starts. Now, I think this is an interesting strategy, because if you say, hey, we want a resolution quick, the resolution is probably like, yeah, boom, stamped. You can't play, idiot. However, I would like your thoughts on the matter.
Well, I think he also wants a quick resolution too, because there might be the possibility of the supplemental draft for the NFL.
Sure.
And getting himself into an NFL camp now. Now, again, is it the same as being drafted? No, it's not. But he's likely to lose out on $5 or so million from Tech. If he can get signed to a contract, get into a camp, he expedites that. Or maybe it's just, I want a resolution. Texas Tech might want a resolution, and then I could begin training toward next year's draft as well. It seems highly unlikely that he's going to play, just based on the evidence that we've seen. And you don't, gambling is a no-no. We know that. And the fact that he wasn't just gambling on baseball or basketball, it was his own team, it was college football. It seems very unlikely. And I think it's probably good to have a quick resolution for everybody involved. Him and Texas Tech, he can move on, make his plans. Texas Tech can make their plans and just go from there.
We have not talked to you. This is Bill Riley, by the way, on the Sean O'Connell Show, the voice of the Utes. We have not talked to you since the Utah Jazz won the NBA draft lottery in their own manner. Number 2 is not number 1, but number 2 is higher than the odds. The straight across odds had them picking, and obviously it's a deep draft where, Darren Peterson, your fellow Kansas Jayhawk, could be available at 2. AJ DeBonsa could be available at 2. Cam Boozer almost certainly will be available at 2. And those are just 3 of the guys that are considered to be potential franchise changers. The Utah Jazz at 2, do they stay there?
I think so, and I know the love of DeBonsa because he played at BYU, and I think JJ is a very, very good player. But if the medicals all check out with Darren Peterson, to me, Peterson is the best fit for the Utah Jazz. They don't have a high-level shooting guard that can be day one, game one. You pair him with Keontae George in the backcourt, and to go with the additions they made in the front court, Jaren Jackson, Lauri Markkanen, Walker Kessler, that would give you a ready-made a starting five. To me, I think Peterson, if he's healthy, Sean, and again, we heard all the stories about the creatine and all that, whatever that might happen to be. If the Jazz go through all the medicals and he checks out, to me, I think he might have a higher upside. Again, this is me watching him a couple of times this year in person, seeing AJ as well. But for what the Jazz need in that league, he is a 6'6" scoring guard, shooting guard, playmaking guard who can be a ball and hand guy too, that seems to be an immediate impact guy in a league where you need that. I think he would be great. Now, I know there's a love for DeBonsa. Ryan Smith has a love for DeBonsa. He basically funded the AJ project at BYU, and that's great. And I think if the Jazz, for some reason, decided to trade up or he fell to them, that's not a bad addition. But to me, stand pat, stay at number 2, as long as Peterson checks out. And I think you've got a hell of a player.
I want to make it clear. I'm a big A.J. DeBonsa fan for all the obvious reasons. I think it's great that he loves the state of Utah, and I think that could be at least a small factor in whatever decision is going to be made by the Utah Jazz here. But is it a possibility that, there was a lot of attention, effort, energy, money spent to make sure AJ was a BYU Cougar and that he had a good experience at a prep school in Southern Utah. And then, he came to BYU as the number 1 recruit in the country and didn't really deliver anything meaningful. I mean, he had a good season, injuries to some of his teammates, bad luck, etc. But is there any potential scenario in which, like, even though Ryan Smith loves AJ as a person, the basketball version of AJ did not work out to the level, there wasn't the return on investment that BYU hoped for, not necessarily by AJ's fault, but even seeing that, just saying, like, what, I think we're good with Darren Peterson at 2. We don't need to make an effort.
Well, I think I'm an A.J. DeBonsa fan, too. I don't want to come off as the voice of the Utes hating on a BYU. I like him. I love the kid as a player. And to me, watching him play, he played with a great effort and joy and talent level all year long. BYU didn't have it. I mean, their season wasn't what people thought it was going to be, but that was no fault of A.J. DeBonsa. I don't think roster construction was great down there, and the Richie Saunders injury sidelined everything. Missing Dawson Baker also hurt them, too. So I don't think the season BYU had anything to do with A.J. DeBonsa. I think he gave them everything he had every single night. That kid played 35, 40 minutes a night and was fantastic. I think he's going to be a really, really good pro. I just think if all things are equal, and we don't know if they are or not, and health is the same, I think Peterson's ceiling might be a little bit higher for what he can be. We saw what DeBonsa can be. We saw what Cam Boozer can be. I think Cam Boozer might be the most solid pick of them all, but I don't think he's got the highest ceiling for what he is at the next level. He's not an elite level athlete. DeBonsa, I think, is a better athlete. Peterson's a better athlete. I think the Jazz aren't going to go wrong with either guy, but I don't know how much capital I would give up, how many players I would give up to move up that spot to grab A.J. DeBonsa versus Darren Peterson, who might in the long run be a better player.
Is Salt Lake City, is Utah still a unique enough market that maybe you alter the rules that every other franchise in the NBA is just give me the best player and we'll figure out the rest? But is Utah still unique enough? Is it hard enough to sell to certain types of recruits, certain types of draft picks that you say, you know what? No, I think I need someone that I'm going to get a second contract out of. We don't want to love them and have them leave like has happened so many times.
I don't think you can worry about that, honestly. I think you have to get the best player in here. Just because A.J. DeBonsa played it, they paid him a lot of money to live here, Sean.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he came here because he loved the Red Rocks and hiking in Moab and fry sauce became his favorite thing. They paid him like $13 million or some crazy, I don't know what the exact amount of money was, to come play at BYU. Did he love his experience? Yeah, it sounds like he loved his experience, but I don't think you're going to worry about that in the NBA, because if you draft him and you bring him in, what if his experience isn't great with the Jazz? What if the Jazz don't win ultimately? What if he wants to go back? He's from Boston. What if the Boston Celtics make him an offer in 5 or 6 years? I don't think in today's day and age, kind of like you can in college, you just got to bring these kids in and treat everybody like they're a year-by-year player sometimes. I think with the pro athletes, yeah, you'd like to think that, but you have to make their experience for the 4 or 5 years you have them as good as possible, and then just kind of almost treat it like we may not have them in 5 years. Hopefully we do, and go from there.
I think you're absolutely right on that. Even though I understand like hey, it is unique and it is important that this is a person who has a relationship with the state and likes the state, things change all the time. And the AJ is going to be eligible for at some point $100 million a year contract. You can live happily wherever you're at getting that kind of money. So I think you're absolutely right on that. Before I let you go, we've got PGA Champion. You only get to watch one sporting event this weekend, Bill. Are you watching NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, the PGA Championship, which of course isn't every single weekend, or are you watching Gina Carano, Ronda Rousey on Netflix, MVP Promotions making their MMA debut?
I'm probably watching hockey playoffs if I can only watch one. You tell me. It feels like Ronda Rousey hasn't been relevant in like a decade. I mean,
that's correct.
It feels like Mike Tyson coming back and fighting on Netflix too. But then again, Gina Carano hasn't really been much of a fighter, and this kind of feels like let's try and relive 2015 all over again. I don't know. This is your sport. I mean, are they in? Are we going to get a fight this weekend? Are these two in fighting shape? Is this just a money grab? It feels like a Jake Paul thing to me.
The answer to all of those questions is yes. Look, they're going to give us their best effort. They're both in great shape right now, but a 43-year-old woman in great shape and a 39-year-old woman in great shape, it's not the same as. By the way, Gina Carano, it's been 17 years since she fought.
That's what I'm saying.
Ronda, it's been like 9.5 for Ronda.
And she lost her last couple of fights, didn't she?
Yes, she did. So, again, like I actually respect the heck out of what MVP Promotions and Netflix are doing here, because what are they doing, Bill? They're eventizing this thing. The fight itself, the main event, is probably going to end up being a pretty crap fight. Like, we're probably just going to be like, oh, well, these two are both shadows of their former selves, kind of like we expected. Which, by the way, no insult to them, that's what happens when you hit age 40 in combat sports, okay? But Netflix is just like, this is the event, though. You got to watch this. Look how much we're talking about it. Look how big a deal we're making the weigh-ins. And look how much Ronda's talking crap about the UFC, even though that's the thing that made her into Ronda Rousey. It's wild that they have – and by the way, I'm a sucker, so I'm going to watch it, even though I know the main event is going to suck because it's an event.
Well, is that tonight or tomorrow?
It's tomorrow.
Okay. I'll probably watch it because I have Netflix. It's not like I'm having to pay – $64.99 like the old days of pay-per-view. But, and by the way, I love the fact that UFC's on Paramount now too.
It was a great move for them. I mean, and by the way, I don't think it's a move that it's ever going to pay off for Paramount. They're not. I don't think they're going to get their return on investment. But if you're an MMA fan like I am, if you're a UFC fan, the accessibility of even the big-time cards not having to be a $70 pay-per-view, it's really nice.
Well, you know me, Sean. I'm not into it like you are. That's your living and your sport, but I'm a casual fan, and I don't watch all 17 fights, but I'll watch the last couple. I love the fact that I don't have to shell out $59 or $60 or $70 now because I have a Paramount subscription to watch Landman and Yellowstone and all that stuff, And so I can watch it. It's great. I'm more into it now because I don't have to shell it out, and I can watch it on Paramount. I think it's been great.
You telling me that there's not like every middle-aged guy on the planet is like, I'm watching reruns of Allie Larder yelling at Billy Bob Thornton, and now some fights come on? You're not changing the channel. You're like, yeah, I'll keep it here. This is right. This stays in my alley.
It's great shoulder programming. It really is.
All right, Bill, before I let you go, Handy Law Utah, Handy and Handy, good friends of mine, good friends of yours. Tell the people what they need to know.
Great personal injury attorneys, great guys. They've got more than 50 years of law experience between them, and they're going to take really good care of you. Hopefully you and your family don't need to ever use them. Hopefully you stay out of injuries at work or on play or in car accidents. But if you happen to go that way and something happens, you want somebody on your side who can take good care of you. And that's what Preston and Garrett will do at Handy and Handy. They've been great partners of the radio station for a long time, huge University of Utah fans and supporters, and they'll take great care of you. You can find them online at handylawutah.com. One more thing, Sean. In addition to all those options you gave people to watch, they can watch me and Bill Kenneberg broadcast the last 2 regular season Utah baseball games tonight and tomorrow afternoon on ESPN+.
Let's go, baby. ESPN+. That's why you pay for the subscription, so you can see your Utes and 2 Bills calling the game. I love that.
That's right. Thanks, Sean. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Bill. That's Bill Riley, voice of the Utes, here on the Sean O'Connell Show. We'll double it up. Tony Jones joins us next. We'll talk about, you guessed it, the Jazz drafting number 2 and these NBA playoffs with Tony Jones. ESPN 700, 92.1 FM. Welcome back into the Sean O'Connell Show. Reminder that this is your home of NBA playoff basketball. Cavs Pistons with Cleveland up 3-2 in that series will be joined in progress after the drive with Spence Checketts on ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM. And then right after that, Spurs T-Wolves from Minnesota. Spurs lead that series 3-2. Tip-off is at 7:30 right here on your home of the Utes. All right, it's been a minute since we caught up with my friend Tony Jones. We're lucky enough to have him now to talk all things NBA and hoop. Tony Jones, welcome back to the show. How are you?
I thought you forgot about me.
How could I ever forget about you?
Easy. Not call me for 6 months.
Well, I'm sorry, Tony. It was I the one who abandoned all of my friends in the market? Was it me who left?
That's crazy. You know what? Now I feel a little survivor's remorse.
No, man, we're all happy for you doing your thing, but
I actually asked them. I actually ran this into somebody that you may know from your UFC days. I don't know if you remember Dave Schaller.
yes, of course.
Yeah.
He's with the 76ers now, right?
Yeah, he's like their head. He's basically like one step down from ownership. Like he has all of the communications. He's president of communications, and I basically went the entire year without knowing that Dave was a UFC guy, and and when I realized it, I said, oh, my friend out in Salt Lake, did UFC and he's in radio, Sean O'Connell, and he remembered you like it was yesterday. Started talking about how nice a guy you were and this and that, and your football background and everything, and I was like, wow, like the world is just way too small.
Yeah, Dave was even when he was with the UFC, he was I was an entry level fighter in the UFC, right? And he was he had an important gig in the company, but he was one of those guys who'd never treated anyone like he was too big. He had real conversations with you. He learned things about your life. I could not be more impressed with how he was with guys even low on the totem pole, so to speak. And It made perfect sense that he got, for him, that was his dream job. I remember when he made the announcement that he was going back home and he was doing the 76ers thing, and I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Good stuff happens to good people sometimes.
Yeah, no, he's really good people, and I really, really enjoyed I've really enjoyed working with him. It's only been 1 year, but I mean, we've made a really good connection, and and we worked together on some important stories. I'm blessed to have him in my professional life for sure.
Well, next time you see him, tell him I said hello, because I have only fond memories of interacting with him during my time with the UFC, which didn't last as long as his did. Anyway, the big news, and you know what I'm going to ask about. The big news is that on Mother's Day, last Sunday, the NBA draft lottery yields a number 2 pick for the University of Utah. And when I had you on 1,700 months ago, we were talking about how deep this class was, how guys like A.J. DeBonsa could be franchise changers. I don't know how much we talked about Darren Peterson back then because it was before the season, Cam Boozer, et cetera, et cetera. And now you're in a position to draft one of them. Probably going to be Darren Peterson, but before we get to the specifics of who it is, how fortuitous is it that the Jazz happen to be at the top of this particular draft?
I think and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, this is probably going to be to the chagrin of the Jazz themselves. But I thought that if the Jazz got one of the big, I'm going to say 3, but I really mean either A.J. DeBanza or Darren Peterson. With the infrastructure that they have, with marketing already in place, Jaren Jackson Jr. in place, they're going to get Walker Kessler back, with him back and in place, with the depth that they've developed in terms of Isaiah Collier, and Cal Filipowski in place with Yusuf Nurkic back. I think the Jazz want Nurk back, and with the development of Keontae George, I thought that if you added either AJ DeBanza or Darren Peterson to that mix, the Jazz have a chance to win a championship. And I stand by that, and I think that. I don't think that they're going to be a favorite or anything, but I think their 100% ceiling to the group that they're about to put together is winning it all. And, they're going to have to do some smart things around the group. They're going to have to still build around the group and do some things to kind of get themselves in a position to challenge either San Antonio or Oklahoma City. But I think that this team is going to have every chance to be a top 4 team in the Western Conference next year. And, and I think that it's jarring for people to hear, somebody say that about a team that's, struggled for so much. But in this CBA, in this NBA economy, in this NBA era, you don't have time to wait. There's no time to wait. Like, there's no time. This group is not going to be together for 5 years. This group is probably going to have a 3-year run at most before finances mean a major change somewhere. And obviously Ace Bailey, I forgot to mention Ace Bailey. But, this group is going to be together 2 to 3 years. And, the Jazz don't have time to wait. This roster is going to get really expensive, really fast, especially whenever they have to pay Keontae. But the fact that they're going to have so much versatility and talent and height and the ability to shoot the ball, and you're adding either AJ DeBanza or Darren Peterson to that group, to that infrastructure, this team is ready to go.
Can I infer from that assertion, and I have heard you say that before, and I'm glad you reasserted it here, can I infer from that you expect whoever that is, AJ or Darren Peterson, to then grow into being a true league superstar? Like, because you can't win an NBA championship anymore without one of them, right?
Right, and I agree. You can't win without a 1A guy, and I think that those are 2 1A guys. We'll see what happens with Cameron Boozer. I happen to think that he's not going to be a 1A guy, but I think that AJ DeManza and Darren Peterson are both 1A guys. And the thing that further enhances their value to the Jazz is that the Jazz are about to start 3 7-footers in their front court. They need a guy who can be a primary ball handler. And, that's going to be Keontae George, obviously, and, obviously Isaiah Collier coming off the bench, but it's also going to be either DeBanza or Peterson. And those guys are going to it probably mutes their Utah's ceiling a little bit in the first year because those guys are going to be learning. But by year 2 and year 3, if those guys are as good as I think they have a chance to be, look at Dylan Harper, what Dylan Harper's doing as a primary ball handler in San Antonio. He's in his first year. Look at what Stephon Castle is doing in San Antonio. He's in his second year. So this is not far-fetched that these guys become, primary playoff level ball handlers in year 1 or year 2. And I happen to think the world of both of their talent level. And, and I think when you add, that kind of dynamic talent to what the Jazz already have, I think they're going to shoot to the top of the Western Conference rather quickly.
Tony Jones is our guest here on the Sean O'Connell Show, talking all things NBA basketball, upcoming draft. When you hear about the concerns with Darren Peterson, the first thing people mention is, the cramping, the health issues. But what about his game deserves the most criticism? Is it the lack of assists? Is it something related to that health where he maybe, didn't push hard enough to get through some of the stuff, which of course is more perception than reality because who knows? But what about his game deserves the most criticism?
That's a really good question, and I do think that he probably could have been better at the playmaking thing this year. That being said, I still think that he's a really good passer, and I didn't think a lot of the roster Kansas had around him. Some of the passes, that went to, bricklayers in Kansas are going to be going to Lowry Market and Jaren Jackson Jr. and Keontae George, and those are going to be assists. I don't have any concern with the cramping stuff. I happen to think that, and I could be wrong with this, but I happen to think that Darren Peterson just didn't want to be in college last year, and that he thought of himself as a pro, and basically he was biding his time. I don't look at him as a durability issue heading into the NBA until he has a durability issue in the NBA. So other than that, he's an apex shooter. He's an apex ball handler. I thought that his athleticism was clearly limited last year in Kansas. If you watch his high school tape, he's clearly more explosive off the dribble than he was at Kansas. He's 20 or however old he is. That's not going to be gone forever. He'll get that back. And, I thought that, when I watched him play, I thought that he was the best American guard prospect that I've seen since Kyrie Irving. So, do with that as you wish, but, I just don't have that many concerns over, what his game is and in terms of, what he's going to be able to do once he gets into NBA spacing.
How should my mind's eye be looking at the process of choosing who to draft at number 2? And I guess even by extension, I don't think the Jazz are going to try to package things and move up. I don't think they're going to want to pay that cost. But that decision will be, I'm sure, at least bandied about. They'll at least have a conversation about it. How should I be picturing those decisions happening? Because you've got the Ainges that are the basketball experts that have been tasked with running this organization and making the moves necessary to put this team into a title picture eventually. You've got Ryan Smith, who's got a personal relationship with one of the top prospects in this draft, who I think had at least a pie in the sky vision of like getting this kid from being the number 1 high school player in the country to the number 1 college player in the country to the number 1 NBA rookie at my franchise. Is he going to walk into the room and say, guys, it's AJ or bust? Come on, do this one for me. Or are the Angels going to say, nope, you hired us to do it our way, get out of the room? How should Jazz fans be picturing the way that those conversations and the power balance is going to factor into the draft?
This is the most fun question you've ever asked me because, all right, so this is what's actually happening. They're doing interviews. They're probably going to have both of those guys in for workouts. They're going over, hours and hours of tape. They're discussing. I do believe that Cameron Boozer will be in that discussion as well. I do believe that Caleb Wilson will be in that discussion because I have Caleb Wilson on the same level as Cameron Boozer. But here's what should be happening. What should be happening is, those guys are watching Netflix. They're lighting cigars. Austin Ames, Danny Ainge, Ryan Smith, Will Hardy, and Justin Zanuck. They're having a slice of pizza, they're having some wings, and they're sitting back and they're saying, wow, we get to let the Washington Wizards just pick whoever they want to pick, and we're just going to take whoever's left. Because that's what's probably going to ultimately happen, right? The Wizards are going to select between A.J. DeBanza and Darren Peterson, and the Jazz are going to take whoever's left out of that. Because you can't lose with either one of those guys. You're either getting a guy who, like I said, is probably the best American guard prospect that I've seen since Kyrie Irving, or you're getting Tracy McGrady, which is who I think A.J. DeBanza is. And if you get A.J. DeBanza, he probably instantly becomes the third most popular basketball player to ever play for the Utah Jazz, behind Malone and Stockton. When you factor in the fact that, he did his last year of high school in Utah, he did a year of BYU in Utah, embraced the BYU culture, embraced the BYU infrastructure, and now goes to the Jazz. And I think that he's going to have every chance to become an NBA superstar. So, it's truly a no-lose situation for the Jazz. And I will say this. I think that Darren Peterson and A.J. DeBanza are the same level of player. Like they do different things. They go about their business differently, but they're both all NBA level talents. And you're just not differentiated. There's no difference in the level of talent between one or the other.
Tony Jones for another minute or two here on the Sean O'Connell Show. All right. We'll just get to watch the soap opera as it plays out. Very much looking forward to it, whichever way it goes. This current NBA playoff has been fascinating. Oklahoma City looks like they're the team to beat again. I don't know where rust versus rest becomes a factor with a couple of sweeps, but who's going to come out of the other Western Conference series that, of course, we have right here on ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM? Spurs or Wolves?
I think the Wolves are out of gas, so I think the Spurs are going to win tonight. I think the Wolves, did well to get the series to 6 games. Probably could have ended in 5 if San Antonio makes a few plays down the stretch of Game 4. But I think San Antonio is going to win tonight, and I think they're going to close this out. I think that it's going to set up Spurs in Oklahoma City, and I think that's going to be one of the best series that we've seen in a long, long time.
What about in the East? Can the Fighting Donovan Mitchells get to the Eastern Conference Final?
Don, I love you. It's the Knicks time, baby. Okay. Let me stop.
Don, I love you, but I don't love you as much as I love the Knicks, is what he really meant.
I think, no, seriously. I would say objectively, I think this is the next year. This is the next year to get out of the East. I just actually wrote about this in a piece that's coming out in The Athletic. If Cleveland wins tonight, we did our, series predictions. And one of the things that I said is that, there was a lot of questions about Mike Brown and Tom Thibodeau and was this the right move, especially when the Knicks were struggling in late December and early January. But as it turns out, this is what was happening. Mike was experimenting with lineups, experimenting with combinations. He was, making his team less heliocentric around Jalen Brunson. And now this team is fresh. They are a lot more diverse offensively than they were in the playoffs last year because it was like Brunson or bust. they've run through the Eastern Conference so far. They're 8-2. I expect I expect the Knicks to win that next series in 5 or 6 games.
Yes, Tony Jones did just use the word heliocentric in a conversation. That's why you should be reading his writing.
Listen, man, you got to put that English degree to work, bro.
The NFL schedule release video, how do you grade out your Commanders? Did they do all right?
We did all right. We got the Eagles in week 1 at Philadelphia. So guess what I'm going to be? I'm going to be at the link, buddy. I'm going to be at the link. And listen, Eagles fans, you cannot fight me because, remember, I'm your Sixers writer.
So, wait, are you going to be there in working capacity or fan capacity?
I'm going to be there in fan capacity, but there's going to be a sign on my head that says I'm your Sixers writer. Don't harm me.
Oh, you're gonna be wearing a burgundy jersey. People are gonna want to throw things at you. What does that sign say? Oh, I don't want to cause head trauma for Tony Jones. I'm trying to read his writing.
Yes, he's our Sixers writer from The Athletic, honey. Don't throw that bottle at him.
You're a bold man. I've only been to one sporting event in Philadelphia, and I was there neutrally. It was just my younger brother likes to go to games at every NFL stadium, so we did that one. And no horse in the race, no dog in the fight. It was like I was wearing all black, and you could still feel the hostility from the Philadelphia fans because you weren't overtly rooting for their birds. It's crazy.
Oh, it is absolutely crazy. So, it's part of what makes Philadelphia such a great sports town. And I saw it up close this year, and and it's something that I want to continue to experience.
Well, it's great catching up with you, my friend. Hopefully, life is good in addition to professional life being good, and hopefully, we'll see you again soon.
I appreciate you, my guy. Thank you for having me.
Tony Jones of The Athletic. He is the Philadelphia 76ers insider, but he's also an NBA insider and beloved here in this market. If you ever had an opportunity to meet Tony Jones personally, he's one of the easiest guys in this business to get along with. So we really do appreciate his contributions and, of course, his time on the show today. All right, we've got a daily dump, which will incorporate a little bit of a PGA Tour leaderboard update. Also, because we're feeling extra generous today, Stir and Dirt Racing is kicking off summer with crashing and bashing. How about this? May Mania Demolition Derby this weekend. In fact, tomorrow at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden. Text CRASH to 33986 right now to win tickets. That is CRASH to 33986. Don't text it to our number, okay? Text CRASH to 33986.
You text it to 877-353-0700.
Don't give them the number.
You will be blocked.
Don't give them the number because now they're going to be confused. I deliberately
33986.
CRASH to 33986 to win Stir and Dirt Racing May Mania Demolition Derby tickets tomorrow, Golden Spike Arena in Ogden.
April showers may bring May flowers, but you won't find any pansies here, OC. No pansies here.
Turns out that things can get dangerous at the PGA Championship if you're in the gallery as a fan. I'll tell you what I mean next in the Daily Dump. It's the Sean O'Connell Show, ESPN 700, 92.1 FM. Valley Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. If you have a plumbing issue, the truck with the duck can handle that. If your air conditioner's on the fritz, the truck with the duck can handle that. If you want to do the right thing and get the furnace in your home maintenance when it is not being used, call the truck with the duck. Or go to valleyplumbing.com, set an appointment right there online. You don't even have to pick up a phone. Our PGA Tour leaderboard updates for the PGA Championship are brought to you by You Into Golf. Join You Into Golf right now for the Mizuno Fitting Week going through Sunday, May 17th. So today, tomorrow, and Sunday, test drive Mizuno's JPX woods and irons. You Into Golf by Worldwide Golf. James Peterson, I'm going to bring it to the air. He told me that he memorizes the names at the top of the leaderboard, and then I say, hey, who's at the top of the leaderboard?
And I forget the first names.
You refer to the notes, and then you get the yips.
I do. Luckily, ESPN.com's leaderboard has both their first and last names, so I think I'll be okay this time. I don't know why I use Google when they just have the first initial and last name. I should just always be on ESPN.com.
It's fine.
That's my bad. Alex Smalley is tied for the lead with Aldrich, Potgieter, and Minwoo Lee. Potgieter's been at the top basically the whole tournament, so he's still right there. Alex Smalley, Minwoo Lee with him there, and then there are 6 other guys tied for fourth, one shot behind them at 3 under. I believe Potgieter and Minwoo Lee just joined the Smalley for the tie for the lead here because it was 8 guys at one point. OC, like just everyone was at 3 under, seemingly. That group has Chris Gotterup, Hideki Matsuyama, Jason Day, last year's U.S. Open champion, Ryu Hisatsune, which is just a fun name to say, Hisatsune. They're all tied for fourth at 3 under, one shot back. The group that's at 2 under, tied for ninth, that rounds out our top 10 are guys like Xander Schauffele, Seth Theegala, Scotty Scheffler, Justin Thomas, Cam Young. So, basically the biggest names in golf, not named Rory McIlroy, are all in that group tied for ninth, 2 shots off the lead. That's your PGA Championship PGA Tour leaderboard update, brought to you by You Into Golf.
All right, well done.
We'll get Paul Pugmire on. He'll help us do the other leaderboard update around 1:30. Air grievances at 1, since we're having Paul at 1:30.
By the way, you can listen to live coverage of the PGA Championship Saturday and Sunday starting at noon right here on ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM, brought to you by Rounds Putt Lounge. So you're home of the NBA playoffs and PGA Championship, brought to you by Rounds Putt Golf.
Stanley Cup playoffs right after that. Game 6, Canadiens and Sabres. 2 teams that I feel like it's been a very long time since they've been relevant in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Canadiens more recent than the Sabres, certainly. But one of those teams is going to the Eastern Conference Final. Got all those games for you starting next week as well.
So John Rahm hit a volunteer at the PGA Championship at the course. He hit him with a divot.
The most golf story ever, by the way. Golf etiquette story ever.
He got mad and basically hit the ground out of frustration. Took out a divot.
Piece of grass just flew in the air and hit someone in the – I don't know where it hit him, but it hit him.
And he apologized to the man. Here's what you do if you're the man. Okay? You take excuse me. You take the grass. You take the divot. And you put it in like one of those little plastic acrylic display cases, and you put it in a prominent place in your home, and eventually it just becomes a brown piece of dead grass. But people are like, what is this? And you've got yourself a nice little conversation piece.
Or you pretend it hits you right in the eye, and one of the blades cut you right in the eye. Mighty Ducks, original Mighty Ducks style. Hold your eye like it was cut.
Yeah.
And then you get a lawsuit out of it.
John Rahm, you owe me several $1 million. John Rahm's just like, dang it.
And he makes another divot. It hits someone else.
I'm going to ask.
The fact that, I'll just say this, the reason why I feel like this is the most golf etiquette story ever, the fact that this is like a mini scandal because, oh my gosh, he got mad and a piece of grass hit one of the volunteers. Like, should he be excluded from the rest of the PGA Championship? No, guys, we can calm down. Grass doesn't hurt anybody. It's nice that he went to the guy immediately and said, "I'm really sorry."
What
But,
about
like,
the dirt?
We can calm down a little
What
bit.
about the dirt that's attached to the grass, James?
Yeah, you're right.
What if he's someone who's
What if he goes
extremely-
blind because of the dirt in his eye?
What
Yeah.
if he's extremely allergic to grass?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask Paul Pugmire when when he joins us. I want to know if players have to have like an insurance company backing, like, or if the courses do or whatever. I want to know if you are injured while in the gallery at a golf course, have you signed the waiver so you just have to deal with it? If Tiger Woods hits me with a drive going 180 miles an hour off the tee, am I able to be like, Tiger, you owe me some money? And he's like, ugh, fine, because he has an insurance policy that just covers that. Kind of like when you get sued, your homeowner's insurance oftentimes is the thing that actually
liability for injuries on your property.
Yeah. I'm going to ask Paul Pugmire that when he joins us on the show at 1:30.
What if a guy who's allergic to grass gets hit by a divot and has a life-threatening situation in the emergency room?
You got to hit him with an EpiPen. Those things are expensive, okay? Who's paying for that? All right, in general, the proliferation of athlete-run podcasts, I think, is not necessarily good. And that's not just because I'm insecure about it as a media professional, quote-unquote media professional. Yikes.
Former athlete yourself.
But I just think that, like, there's a lot of people who have podcasts that, like, we don't need to hear you talk. All right? But let people do their thing. The beauty of the situation is I just don't have to listen to the podcast. However, sometimes you get a nice little nugget. You get a nice little tidbit of information out of this. And James dug this one up for. Miles Turner went on the Breanna Stewart podcast, Game Recognized Game. And he said that with the Bucks last year, there was just a massive lack of discipline. He never fined anybody. Doc Rivers never fined anybody. And apparently Giannis said he would just show up whenever he wants, which is the wildest thing in a team sport, that a superstar player just be like, yeah, I'll show up when I feel like showing up. Now, if you're a rock star, if you're a rock star, if you're Axl Rose, if you're Prince, right? Even Taylor Swift could do this and just be like, yeah, show up when I want to show up.
Oh, the concert, the tickets say it starts at 7. I'm not ready till 10, okay?
Like, you expect me to come on at 9:30 after the opening acts? I'm actually going to be there at 11:30. And guess what? You paid $2,000 for your seat, so you're going to sit there and you're going to like it,
and you're going to listen to whatever local act I'm giving a big break to, all right, to open for me.
But for Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's got, by the way, this kind of like generally wholesome sort of reputation to be, I'll show up when I feel like showing up, and for the coach to be like, yeah, okay, Giannis, we'll see you when we see you.
He's allowed. By the way, coaches are allowed to fine players for almost anything.
They're encouraged to.
Yeah, and
you're supposed to.
And he's just like, here's the thing. This reminded me. This was not part of any stories that were written about these comments. I read this and went, hold on, isn't this exactly why they said he was fired by the Clippers in 2021 after the 2020 season, or it was the middle of the 2021 season, whenever it was? Dude, because he let Kawhi do whatever he wanted, and the other players were too upset, were really irked about that.
Can you imagine if you're Steve Ballmer and you hear that Kawhi, it gets back to you, that Doc Rivers is allowing Kawhi Leonard to skip film, skip treatment, show up at shoot around whenever he feels like, without finding him,
whatever. Practices, plane rides, whatever.
Yeah, team plane's supposed to leave at 5 p.m. He gets there at 5:40, whatever. Everyone else is waiting on him. Can you imagine if you're Steve Ballmer and you're like, dude, we are literally violating the rules to pay this guy extra money, and you're not even making him do what he's supposed to do? you're fired.
And you're losing in the second round of the playoffs when you have a 3-1 lead? Yeah.
Doc, there's nothing wrong with being a player's coach,
There's
right?
a pattern here, though.
There's a lot of ways you could be very successful being a player's coach. We've seen player coaches win championships,
including Doc Rivers.
but you can't be that permissive with your superstar. You have to be willing. Like that's why guys like Phil Jackson, Jerry Sloan, Greg Popovich, in the other era, the other generation, the non-player coaches, that's why they were so respected by the biggest stars, the biggest egos in the game. Because they were like, okay, yeah, you're a great player. I acknowledge that. You're the best player in the world. I acknowledge that. This is my team, and these are my rules, and this is how you're going to do it.
Bill Belichick on the football side for a really long time. There's so many stories about how he would go after Brady like harder than anyone else.
Call out Tom Brady, right? Yes. Yeah. And I'm sure that gets tiresome if you're Tom Brady at some point.
I mean, clearly it did.
But you got to respect it on some level, and the rest of the players in the locker room respect it, most importantly. All right, James, I've been waiting to do this. The schedule release videos that were put out there, the one that was most overlooked for me, the most disrespected, was the New York Jets. And now, for obvious reason, you see the New York Jets doing everything, and people are just like, the Jets suck, so this schedule release probably sucks. They must have
screwed this up too, yeah.
And it was odd. It's not what you would think. What they did you see what they did?
I didn't.
They took dabs of paint, okay? Dabs of paint colors, like they're mixing on a palette, okay? They would mix the colors together, and ultimately the color that was created was the primary color of the team they were playing against.
Oh, wow.
Now, the paints had specific names that they're mixing together, right? And that was the most clever part about it. I think that people just didn't bother to read and pay attention. So I'm going to give you some. You're not looking at it. James is not watching.
I'm not looking.
And you're going to tell me by the names of the paint colors being mixed together, if you can tell me who the team is that the New York Jets are playing that week. This was sponsored by JetBlue, which also made very little sense because with paint colors, why didn't you have a paint company sponsoring it?
I mean, also New York Jets, JetBlue. That kind of works.
Okay, fair.
Couldn't have been Sherwin-Williams, though? Come on.
All right, Jets schedule release color riddles. Here we go. Dolly Denim is one color. Bachelorette Blush is the other color. They mix them together to make the primary color of?
Red and blue, purple. Ravens.
Dolly Denim, Bachelorette Blush. Dolly Denim, what color would that be?
That'd be blue, right?
Okay.
And blush, I'm guessing red.
Blush, it's kind of a light pink. It's
okay.
To be fair to you. But think of Dolly and think of Bachelorette. What city is that?
L.A.
No.
No, Dolly Parton, Nashville.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Tennessee Titans. Okay, now we're getting there.
I'm thinking Bachelor is in L.A.
Yeah Bachelorette parties, most Bachelorette parties happen in Nashville, okay?
Gotcha, okay. You learn something every day, OC.
Okay. The next one is three colors. Cheese curd, relish, and strawberry milk together make?
With yellow, green, and pink?
Yeah, which, I mean, the pink will throw you off a little bit.
Yeah, so yellow and green, what does that make when you mix it together? Is that blue?
You're too focused on the actual color.
Yeah,
you got to go with the
Packers?
clue. There you go.
Okay, no, I'm like, sorry, I'm thinking of, I'm remembering elementary school when I last mixed paints.
Think less of the color wheel.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna
cheese
shape
curd,
up here.
relish,
I got this.
And strawberry milk. Okay.
Why strawberry? Is it because dairy? Because of the milk?
Yeah, I think they must have strawberry milk up there.
Okay. Shout out to Wisconsin. From Wisconsin with love.
Cloudgate and deep dish char.
Wait, Raiders. Silver and black, right? Gray and black?
You're doing it again. You're focusing on what you think the color is. Cloudgate. Cloudgate is the name of the Chicago bean.
Oh, okay. I didn't
The
know
actual
that.
official name.
See, that was lost on
and
me.
deep dish
So,
char
yeah.
is like deep
Chicago
dish pizza.
Bears. Okay.
Okay.
Cloudgate, I did not know.
This one you're going to get. This one you're going to get.
Go.
Chowder Blue, Lobster Blush, Wicked Dock.
What? New England.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, Lobster's Maryland. Are we sure it's not Raven?
Okay. Rust Belt and Lake Effect.
Cleveland.
Yes. The name of the colors.
That describes the city so well.
Spray Tan, Major Key, and Finkel.
The Miami.
Yes.
What's Finkel?
Finkel, that's from Ace Ventura.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen Ace Ventura in a long time. Yeah.
This one's tough. Buffet napkin and spade.
Oh, Vegas.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, the casino buffets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hawaiian shirt and red.
Hawaiian shirt and red?
Yes.
Is it one of the LA teams?
Nope.
Okay.
Who wears Hawaiian shirts all the time? Andy Reid.
Oh, Andy Reid.
There you go.
And the Chiefs. Okay. He doesn't wear them on game days, to be fair. He should. They should have a Chief Hawaiian print.
He was on the Rich Eisen show this morning, and Rich Eisen was like, "Hey, 14 years in Kansas City, 14 years in Philadelphia." He's like, "I really love my job, man." Blah, blah, blah. I mean, you just put on a Tommy Bahama shirt and you go to work. It's awesome. I was like, not everyone else does that, Andy. You're the only coach who puts on a Tommy Bahama shirt.
28 years as a head coach is not nothing.
It's a big deal.
That's a big deal for Andy. By the way, like, don't you think it was really awkward that we have coaches' press conferences after this social media event and they have to say, yeah, I mean, we play who we play, and we're excited.
Yes.
We don't need that.
We don't need that. By the way, Andy Reid, if he wins another championship, maybe even two, right now everyone looks up to Belichick, right? We kind of saw, though, that was a Tom Brady thing.
Yeah.
Andy Reid had the Philadelphia Eagles right there on the cusp. And then you give him great players in Kansas City, and he wins multiple titles. Like, let that debate rage.
Yeah. And, I mean, I feel like the really old school guys still have Lombardi up there pretty high. But, it's like those three for sure.
Okay. Blue Jay, Frostbite, and Ranch Nut Blue Cheese are the colors mixed together to make the primary of. Blue Jay, Frostbite, Ranch
Buffalo?
Nut, yes, Buffalo. $20 matchas and Ka-Chow. Those are the colors mixed together to make.
Matchas and Ka-Chow.
$20 matcha.
$20.
Overpriced. And Ka-Chow.
I do not know.
That is a reference to Lightning McQueen.
Oh, okay. Chargers.
Correct.
With the lightning bolt.
Yes.
Of course. Ka-Chow. Yeah.
Okay. Thunder Yellow and Red Rocks. Now, this one you can think of it because you mix yellow and orange, or yellow and red together, they make orange.
They make orange.
Red Rocks is a famous place.
Oh, yeah, the Broncos.
Yes,
yeah.
Okay.
Orange Crush, let's go.
Prickly Pear, Dry
Let's
Heat.
ride.
Prickly Pear and Dry Heat Red.
Arizona.
Okay. Raspberry Beret and Minnetonka Blue.
Raspberry Beret and Minnetonka Blue.
Yes.
Red and blue.
Mixed together make?
So this is the Ravens?
Nope.
Purple?
Raspberry Beret.
Minnesota.
Minnesota, because Prince.
Yeah.
Okay. And this one, Blizzard Warning, Mafia Magenta, and Snow Shovel.
Bills again?
And Bills again, because, you know.
Oh, because they play, divisional game. Yeah.
So those were the riddles.
Some of those were lost on me, man.
Some of them were
good,
and some of them are really hard. And I liked it. And I'm glad that we stumped you a couple times.
Yeah. Bilbo Baggins would have been proud of those riddles. Smeagol would have been mad at him.
We've got the airing of grievances coming up. I want to make sure we give that enough time. I want to stay on clock here.
I have, by the way, if we have enough time in airing of grievances, I have a solution for you to get back at your neighbor that with some production value and everything that we can, as a follow up to last week's bad neighbors grievance.
We will make time for that. Okay, so one more segment this hour. We start hour number 3 with the airing of grievances. Paul Pugmire joins us at 1:30. It's the Sean O'Connell Show on ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM. The ESPN 792 FM Festival of Tees is on, powered by the Utah Golf Association, brought to you by Mountain Home Services. We are giving away free rounds of golf to the best courses in the state every day here on the Sean O'Connell Show and on The Drive with Spence Checketts. Make sure you're listening for your chance to win. today's course, we're going to give away a nice little round to Nibley Park. Just a quick little snack of a golf course. Get in, get out. Easy little quick one right in the middle of the valley. So Nibley Park.
Just a little nibbly.
Just a little nibble at the golf buffet. All right? You see that? If you're watching on YouTube, I just pretended I was holding a golf club and took a swing, and probably really bad at that. Nibley Park when we give them away today. I know I already told you this, and I'm going to tell you again. We're super lucky to have Big Willie's be a partner on the show because they actually care about sports. They actually listen to the show. They actually care about the sports teams, even the rec leagues here in the state of Utah. Big Willie's sponsors a bunch of stuff in the community. They keep the menu price so they can make a little bit of money because they're business owners and they should, but also so that they're not gouging you and that you want to return. You can have dinner and some drinks, and when you get the bill, you're not like, oh my gosh, we can't come here again for another 6 months. Big Willie's really is a friendly neighborhood spot right there at 1717 South Main. They got the VIP room upstairs if you ever want to host a party there. If you're just looking for a place to hang out, watch the PGA Championship this weekend, go to Big Willie's. You want to watch some NHL playoff hockey? Go to Big Willie's. You want to watch some NBA playoffs? Go to Big Willie's. You got a regular season baseball game during the week that nobody in your house cares about. You don't have the television package necessary to get that particular broadcast. Guess who does? Big Willie's, 1717 South Main. Also the number 1 pool hall in Utah. Don't go and get yourself hustled, all right? There's some really good billiards players that frequent the joint. So don't get hustled, but go shoot some pool, have some fun, enjoy the great food, enjoy the great people, and tell them OC sent you. Usually it happens at 1:30. We're going to do it at 1 o'clock. We've got extra time today for the airing of grievances. Fire up your texting fingers or your tweeting fingers, 877-353-0700, at Real OC Sports if you want to get a hold of me there. Send me your grievances. We've already had a couple come in. I've got one. James has one. And most importantly, we've got a follow-up. James has a plan for us on how we can defeat the bad neighbor problem that's going on, at least in my neighborhood. Airing of grievances in 3 minutes on the Sean O'Connell Show, ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM. Time for the airing of grievances, 877-353-0700. Paul Pugmire will join us after the airing of grievances with another PGA Tour leaderboard update. The PGA Championship is playing right in front of me here on the television on ESPN. Text in your grievances. We will air them for the audience. This one, this one bothers me. From Ryan. Grievance, bought a new fridge, said it was $50 to deliver. I said, all right, fine. Then they said, if there are any stairs, then they said, are there any stairs? I said 3 to get in the house. They said, that's $100. What? The $50 delivery fee doesn't apply if you have stairs? You know how rare it is to find a home with no stairs at all? Without a porch stair? Without a stair from the garage? Without the entryway being higher or lower, so you got to have some stairs? You cannot be a delivery company and expect no stairs. That's why people pay you to do the delivery, because they don't want to deal with the stairs. You charge the $50 because you are the stair handler. Grievance.
3 steps, too. Like, that's like barely any stairs.
I ordered some outdoor furniture on like Mega Closeout last year because my dog ate some of my wife's beautiful outdoor furniture that she had selected.
Is that what you told you? Is that what you told her? The dog ate it.
It was not me that ate the furniture.
Honey.
So I ordered it, right?
I didn't ruin it.
I felt really good about the price. I was like, oh, cool. I got the exact replica, the exact replacement of what he had destroyed. And I was like, hey, you can't be mad. I got you new ones. So, and then they delivered. And I was like, hey, will you put them in the garage? They're like, oh, we could just deliver them here to the front porch. I'm like, the garage is actually easy for you to get into. Can you put them in there? They're like, no, sorry. We can only put them here. And they were, young guys in their 20s. I was like, guys, I'm going to give you a tip, like a monetary tip. I'm going to give you money for doing this delivery. Will you please just put them where I ask? And they looked at each other, and they actually, huddled, and they had a little conversation. I'm sure it's against company policy.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say company policy is what it is. Sometimes it's silly, but yeah.
But I was like, guys, I will make it worth it for you. Just put it there. So the red tape, $50 for 3 stairs? No. We got to draw that line somewhere, people.
That's terrible.
Ryan, I echo your grievance.
So did they double violate company policy? They accepted a tip they shouldn't have accepted, and they put it in the wrong place?
By the way, if you're a company that has delivery drivers and then your policy is they can't accept tips, you're in the wrong, okay? That would be a grievance with you.
I don't know for sure if moving companies have that standard, but I know there's many other that's like, oh, sorry, we can't accept tips. I wouldn't be surprised.
It's dumb.
Yeah, it is dumb.
Don't expect a tip every time you flip the iPad around, but if I want to give you a tip because you've actually done something good and your boss is like, no, you can't have that, bad, wrong.
Grievance against those companies.
How about this from Craig? Grievance. When I go out of my way to park my big truck as far as I can from the store so as not to inconvenience people. That's very kind. That's nice. It is sometimes difficult to be parked next to massive trucks, big fat vehicles in small parking spots. And then some in a big truck pulls in close to me. There are wide open spaces 20 feet away. Look, I wonder if that person, the other big truck person, feels a certain amount of comfort being like, oh, they're also a big truck person, so they won't mind if I put my big truck next to their big truck, and then we both can barely open our doors. That's misplaced, that trust.
We're the same people. We're a community here. We want to be close. Okay?
Look, let's
I'm
have
one of you.
It's kind of like when you have a big dog that wants to sit on your lap, like Rocky, my guy.
Yeah,
he always wants to. Like when James, when he goes,
even when you're standing,
yes,
he'll lean on your lap.
On you.
Like if I knock you over, I will be on your lap, which is what I want.
Yes, that's what this big truck thing is.
Yeah, I'm one of you. Shout out to Morgan Scally.
877-353-0700. Text in your grievances. From Jeff, the food I get at a restaurant never looks like the picture on the menu or the advertisement. Of course it doesn't, Jeff. Jeff, are you an 11-year-old that's just now experiencing this in life? Did you just become a paying consumer?
It is upsetting. It is upsetting.
Have you ever watched like any of the YouTubes or any of the weird documentaries on how they make commercial food?
No.
Oh my gosh, it's so fascinating. A lot of the time, it's not even really the thing.
It's plastic or like clay or something, right? Well,
interestingly enough, there's not a lot of plastic used because that looks plastic.
Yeah, okay.
But they will, like, if they're trying to make a burger look really good, they'll be using something that is not an actual hamburger. Or if it is an actual hamburger and they want to make it shine the right way, they like put Vaseline on it. It's very odd.
They make it inedible.
It's inedible.
It's like, you know the term Foley, right? In filmmaking and audio. It's audio creativity, right? Creating sounds that. So when you make for those that don't know, when you hear like a really awesome thunder clap on a movie or TV show, it's like saran wrap on some plastic sheet making that noise. They think of like what kind of odd items can I use to make a thunderclap noise, and that's what they use to make it sound like thunder, right?
Yeah.
That's Foley. That what you just described is the fast food companies doing visual Foley. Like, you know what? We don't want it to actually be a hamburger because hamburgers don't look that good. So we're going to use like some other kind of we're going to use some other kind of item that looks like a hamburger, but like a hamburger on steroids.
Yeah, you can't. It should be a requirement that the food in the commercial is food that could actually be eaten.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
You know what? State legislature, if you want to do something for us that we'd actually all appreciate, let's get that law in there. The actual food law.
All right, how about this from William 3083. Grievance: having a neighbor who plays loud bass and music will drive you insane, especially when you go over nicely and they still don't care. You try to be nice, they want to fight or call the cops. I finally had to move. On top of it, he had 2 pit bull husky mixes that were always in my yard digging under my fence, barking at the kids. What are we doing?
He had to move because this neighbor wouldn't stop being annoying. Oh my gosh.
Noise, like excessive noise is a thing. I am very get off my lawn about it. My wife makes fun of me. She says I have misophonia, the thing where like when people chew loud, makes me violently angry.
My wife has the same thing. Every time I'm close to her and I'm eating something, she's like, "I can hear you chewing." I'm sorry.
It's wild, right? Like even watching like a sporting event, television, watching a movie on television, I'm like, turn that down. It's weird. I just don't like loud noises. Maybe it's because I talk so loud myself and I'm sick of hearing my own voice. I don't know. But William, I'm sorry that you had such a bad neighbor.
So this is William from Cedar City. William, did you move to Cedar from this place, or was this a different spot in Cedar City? I'm just curious as a follow-up there.
That's terrible.
Shout out to our Southern Utah listeners, by the way.
Okay, Jordan, this one. My biggest grievance right now is seeing the billboards on the freeway telling us to save water, yet they just approved the world's largest AI data center, which will use so much water. I think I came to this party late, and I was just like, crap, another big like business stupid thing. And then I realized the actual scale of this. 40,000 acres. A 40,000 acre building. That's like a massive ranch.
Yeah.
But it's a building. And the amount of I echo your sentiment. It is absolutely absurd. And the process by which all this stuff was approved, I don't like to get political on the show, but the Box Elder County residents were like actually trying to do the thing they're supposed to do. Show up at the council meetings, voice their concerns, voice their opinions. Hey, this is agricultural land. There's a certain way of life here. You can't just slap down some big concrete cube that's going to generate all this noise and all this heat and suck up all this water. And they just moved the meeting to another room so they didn't have to hear about it. It's like, it's super corrupt. It's super terrible. It's super messed up. And I have a weird, I don't know why, I have a weird feeling that this thing is actually not going to get built, not because it doesn't get approval, and not because they don't try to build it. I think that there's like I think we're talking about like a sabotage thing's going to happen here.
Oh, some of these BE residents who are upset might.
Well, you just can't do that. You can't take a place that is accustomed to a certain amount of wide open space, way of life, raw sort of landscape, and expect the people there to just be like, yeah, we'll roll over while you take all the water that we need and generate this loud, buzzing, strange. Oh, and by the way, grievance to all of you who are just like slurping up AI as rapidly as you can, because that's why they need to build these dang data centers, because we're so addicted to our technology now. And I'm addicted to technology also, so I'm not alone, or I'm not pointing too many fingers at you, but I am pointing just the one.
There's 3 pointing back at you.
Yeah, they're still pointing back at me, but the one is that I'm pointing at you is specifically for AI, artificial intelligence. Use your own dang brain.
That's our weekly tradition, grievance against AI.
I've heard this one before. I'll echo it again. Multi-billion-dollar companies asking me if I want to round up my purchase for charity. You don't need my help.
I don't mind doing that, though. It's like, what? At most, it's like 50 cents or something.
Well, at most, it would be 99 cents.
Well, I guess 99. Oh, you're right. But, like, typically, it's like 50 cents. Yeah. I'm like, I'll give 50 cents to the National Parks Foundation or whatever.
Also, the reason I do it every time, I like a nice round figure on the receipt.
So they're getting the suckers like you.
I like a nice round. Oh, you tell me that could be $40 instead of $39.22? Heck yeah, dude. $40. Because you get that great feeling that you get only at the gas pump.
Yeah, that's true.
As a consumer, the only time you get that 000 is at the gas pump. And so if you can be offered that at Costco, why not?
Or are you one that when you tip at a restaurant or, anywhere else you might feel like tipping because everyone's asking you for a tip? Now, are you one that goes and makes sure the tip is exactly so that the total number is 0.00? Is that how you do it?
It's so funny. It depends on who I'm with, because if it's like, hey, let's get moving, and my kids are there, and I don't want to take the extra 3 seconds to do the mental math, I'll leave it. But if I have a little bit of time,
you'll think it through.
Like, let's see, it'd be
20% is this,
$13.31. There you go. And that by the way, that person, because if you've worked in the food service industry, when you're getting the tip on the credit card receipts, right? You're taking cash out of the till.
Yeah.
In order to get those tips.
Take 31 cents.
So they're probably like, that idiot. I don't want the 31 cents. I'm doing you a favor still. Okay, you need change.
You'll get the extra 31. You wouldn't have that otherwise.
They're probably like, I'm just going to I don't want pennies. I'm just going to take a quarter. From Jace, grievance from people who tailgate right behind your car, zoom past you just to be right next to you at the next red light. Oh, we have all encountered this so many times.
I hate even witnessing it.
And honestly, we're probably guilty of it at sometimes ourselves, where you're in a big hurry. You're just like, get out of the way. And then you go past that person. You zoom past them. You might even cut them off. Red light.
How you doing?
Oh, sorry.
Do a
sorry
wave.
Sorry about that.
Actually, avoid eye contact at all costs.
I'm in a bit of a hurry. I apologize. Yikes.
This, by the way, we confirmed Jace is from the Babka family that you knew growing up, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Shout out to the Babkas.
The Babkas of Sandy. 8944. Big complaint is the NBA playoffs being streamed on Prime and Peacock. You can't record the games, rewind the games, or fast forward the game. It absolutely sucks. It's like watching NBA basketball in the 1980s.
Well,
is that true? You can't rewind? I can rewind on
I
Prime.
think depending, I think if you have, so now they have different kinds of Prime subscriptions.
Because you can go ad-free. That's expensive.
If you have the ad-free, I think you have like this DVR option. If you don't, I could be wrong on that, but I don't have ad-free, and I'm not been able to rewind or fast forward.
Okay,
So
maybe I'm an idiot because I don't have ad-free, and maybe I've just assumed that I could if I wanted to.
But you haven't tried it
But I haven't
yet.
actually tried. Because, like, even when I'm watching live TV on my Comcast subscription, I can rewind.
Yeah.
When I'm watching live TV, that has
Right.
commercials.
Yeah.
You telling me
streaming-
Amazon? Whoa. Are you is this real? Am I learning this right now? Amazon,
that's my theory.
the
I don't know.
most lucrative company on planet Earth, can't give you a DVR feature on your Prime unless you go ad-free? Get Jeff Bezos on the phone.
Yeah, come on, Jeff. Grievance against you if that is the case.
Jeff, I need two things. I need you to block the gigantic data center, and I also need you to let people rewind on their Prime live programming.
Jeff Bezos, if you said I need you to block the gigantic data center, he would do the Morgan Freeman from Dark Knight trilogy, Batman. So you're asking one of the biggest tech billionaires in the history of the world, and currently in the world, to block a data center, and you think that I will listen to you?
You're probably right.
Good luck.
Is there a place that we need to, like, warm up the environment somewhere? Is there global cooling happening?
I don't know.
Can we build this thing on the moon and it could heat up the eventual civilization we have there?
Yeah, come on. Can we off-world this thing? We don't need it on Earth.
We don't need it in Box Elder County, I'll tell you that.
Let's ruin the moon's atmosphere. We need our atmosphere.
Guess what? Doesn't have one.
Oh,
Moon
yeah,
doesn't
that's
have
right.
one.
That's right.
Perfect. It's perfect.
Let's ruin the void of space. Oh, you can't do that. Okay, great.
You can fart whatever exhaust into that place you want.
Did you see 1943s?
No? Wait,
Could
what?
be a segue.
Are you getting texts I'm not getting?
Oh,
Am I not refreshing
I'll read it.
fast
I'll read
enough?
it. No grievance today. Life is good. I'm just here for the OC neighbor update.
Let's go.
Could be
Okay.
a segue.
I have to air a new grievance, though. It's with Ticketmaster. It's with the NHL partnership and Winter Classic with Ticketmaster. That process yesterday was the worst ticket buying process I've had in years. Ticketmaster, what are you doing?
Well, NHL should just switch to SeatGeek or something else. Seriously.
I mean, if I buy tickets to the Raspberry Days Rodeo in Bear Lake, it is a lot better than that.
Yeah.
And that's effectively like an HTML website that somebody slapped together as a school project. Ticketmaster, garbage process.
Or if you buy tickets to May Mania, Stirring Dirt Racing.
Stirring Dirt Racing, May Mania.
You won't find any pansies here.
It's such a wild commercial.
Text crashed to 33986, by the way, for tickets.
All right. So that's it. I'm airing that grievance with Ticketmaster. You stink, and I hate you, Ticketmaster. Why did you do that? But I guess thank you for taking my money for the Winter Classic tickets. I don't know. James, do you have any grievances you want to air? Or are we just going straight to this update?
You know, I'm feeling unburdened. Maybe I aired everything at home this week. I don't know. I'm feeling pretty unburdened. Don't really have anything to air, but I am eager to try to solve your neighbor problem.
Okay, let's solve it then. Okay.
If you're not at Swifty, you got to listen anyway. All right.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Here's my.
That was not expected.
Here's my. I told you it's a production value. Here's my solution here. This weekend, you're home, right?
Yeah.
Do another lemonade stand with your girls on the same corner, in front of this guy's house, all right? That's totally legal, as one of our texters, I think it was Craig. It might have been Craig who told us about the lemonade law.
And sent us the link to the official writ.
Yeah.
Like, we have it. Yeah.
So you joked, I'm going to laminate that thing, I'm going to put it on his door or whatever. I think you should do that with another lemonade stand this weekend. Have 2 copies, one that you put on his door. I don't know if he's got some kind of gate in front of his property. You can put it on there if you don't want to go to the door. And then the other copy taped to the table right in the middle, okay? And then bring a speaker and play Mean. All you're ever going to be is Mean, dude.
You know what? I actually...
By Taylor Swift. And make sure you're there for a few hours so it's extra annoying.
Great minds think alike, I suppose. I actually
thinking of this song too.
I updated my wife, and I updated our neighbor, who was the other mother who was offended by the terrible accosting of this moronic neighbor. She was actually holding her infant child in her arms.
Yeah,
when the guy was cursing at her. I told her, I was like, you know what? Actually, a listener on my radio show sent us like the lemonade law, and this is totally legal. So I proposed, I'm like, we should go set up another one, and I will sit in the chair and let the kids sell whatever they want to sell. Like, let's do it again. And these women are a lot more reasonable and less confrontational than myself. And they're like, well, no, because it's still unpleasant to have the guy come out and yell and be rude. I'm like, oh, no, but that's pleasant, because then rebuffing the rudeness is fun. But you know, it also, you know, they're motherly. They're like, why would I take my kids anywhere near that yard ever again?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what? That's rational. But someday you'll be living in a big old city, and all he's ever going to be is me and OC. So just remember that and make sure he knows that.
All he ever is me now. Now.
Here's a bonus thing you can do if you, in fact, get this cleared from your wife and the other nice neighbor. Have your oldest knock on the door and especially offer him some complimentary lemonade. Okay,
nope.
With you standing behind him or behind her, mean mugging him while she's being extra nice. That's a no-go.
No.
See, that's why it's a bonus. That's optional. The rest of it's required. You must do it this weekend.
Okay. I don't know about the Taylor Swift song, but the rest of it.
We were working on the yard. We're working on building the deck in the backyard. OC.
Ooh.
Got it started. Got the process started last week, and we got Spotify going. And someone says, "Let's play Taylor Swift," and I'm a Taylor Swift fan, so I'm like, I'm fine with that. This song plays, total throwback, and I thought, I'm like, oh my gosh, how cheesy and hilarious would that be if OC just was in front of his house playing, like, telling this guy all he's ever going to be is mean.
I'm actually ashamed that one encounter has so much power over me. Like, I need to get back into the fast-paced world of fighting and training myself or something, where you're just like, all the aggression is gone because, ooh, even when I think about it, drives me nuts. All right. Got to take a break, though. Remember, we are going to give away Festival of Tees golf in about 20 minutes. But up next, we'll talk PGA Championship with our resident golf insider, Paul Pugmire. It's the Sean O'Connell Show on ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM. Welcome back to the Sean O'Connell Show. Welcome in the president of First Tee Utah, host of Utah Golf Radio right here on ESPN 700. Paul Pugmire, friend of the program, to check in on the PGA Championship. Hi, Paul. How are you?
Hey, OC. How you doing?
I'm great. How are things, sir? Paul, you got me?
Yeah. Okay. That's weird. Okay, I'm should have a good signal. How are we doing?
Oh, great. How are you, sir?
Fantastic. There's a major going on. How's life not great?
Yeah, it's been an interesting one to watch so far, and one of the reasons I love talking these majors, especially with you, is your encyclopedic knowledge of the courses and how these courses are playing now that we're in day 2. What are you making of this one?
The ghost of Donald Ross wants to see these guys work. It is so fun to see. Donald Ross, one of the most prolific and impactful golf course architects in the history of the game. His fingerprints are everywhere, and he called Aronimik his masterpiece. He thought this was his best work. And there have been times when the course was not set up to its full potential. It was hosting a pro event, and the scores were low. Nobody's having any of that this week. These players, the greatest in the world, the full potential of Aronimik is on display, and I am loving it.
So give me a sense of what that looks like. What are the differentiating factors of this course in particular?
Couple things. First of all, Ross really made use of slope. There's you'll see time and time again, left to right, right to left, side slopes on the fairways, where players will hit a ball that in the air is tracking up the fairway, but it lands on the wrong part of the fairway, takes a slope, and kicks down into the rough. Yeah, the tournament organizers have made the rough very strong and deep and thick, and so that is a penal shot right there. And then a Donald Ross characteristic is crowned greens. You hear the term a turtleback green. Green false fronts, false sides, and where the ball can be on the green for a minute but run away. And that is very much a Donald Ross thing, and it's in full display at Aronimik. And there are both turtleback greens and there are greens with simply severe slopes on them. Number 11 in particular is so severely sloped, and these greens are running at about 13 on a stimp meter. You combine all that with some firmness that they have achieved this week, and it's really, really difficult. It leads to a situation where you can hit the ball in the fairway and be out of position. You can hit the ball on a green and be out of position because the next shots are so severely demanding. This course is asking a lot, and so far, players are only able to answer so much.
So whose style is best suited to this particular course? I guess I should just look at the leaderboard for the answer to that question, but there might be a surprise or two up there.
You know, the PGA Championship, for reasons I've never fully known, but it comes about again and again in history. This tends to be the major championship where first-time major winners emerge. And so it will never be a surprise when somebody you didn't have on your radar going into the week is the one who comes out of it with a trophy at the PGA. It doesn't happen as much in the other majors, but it happens more in the PGA. So it's not a surprise to see some names on the leaderboard who are not household names. On the other hand, we also see names on the leaderboard that are major champion winners and have proved that they know how to manage the demands of a major championship and emerge victorious. So you ask what kind of game is best suited to this? I'm going to take a step back from a physical game because Aronimik will both test and reward different types of physical games. But what it is absolutely demanding is a player that is patient. that is not trying to force the course to give up more than it is willing to give up, that is not trying to take what to make pars, make another par and another par until finally a moment emerges to go for the birdie, and so they execute it then. But this is very much like Muhammad Ali doing rope-a-dope, sitting back, waiting for the opening, and just waiting and waiting and waiting, and then striking. That waiting part is really hard, and a lot of players will have a hard time doing it. That's the player that will be rewarded this week.
I have to sneak this in because we were laughing about earlier when John Rahm hit somebody, a volunteer, with a divot, and
Right.
Obviously, nothing comes of something like that. When if somebody does get hurt in the gallery, or an errant drive smacks someone, is there an insurance policy covered by the player, the course, the tour? Is there, if there's something like a settlement, if there's a medical expense that needs to be paid, who is the insurance policy under? Do all these players have to carry that around like a doctor does malpractice insurance?
Yeah, not the players, but the tournament organizers. Now, if you get out a magnifying glass and a bright light, you can read on the back of your ticket really tiny information, tiny print about how by using this card you accept all liability. But the reality is the tournaments carry the liability insurance, and so it would be the tournament organizers that would deal with that. I do want to give Rahm a shout out for how he responded to that situation. What he did was unseemly and unprofessional, but he completely owned it. He said, "That's on me. I was wrong. I apologize. And as soon as we're done here, I'm going to go find that man and talk to him in person. I wish I would not have done that." I can tell you, I've got a long list of things I wish I would not have done in my life. but John Rahm stood up and was a grown man and accepted responsibility, and he's dealing with it. I admire that. It was wrong. He's done it right in response, and we can move on.
How much of what's happening with Rory McIlroy is the problem he's having with his foot, the blister or whatever, and how much is just a bad day?
I think he's just struggling with the driver. Look, the slopes on these fairways requires absolute pinpoint precision with the driver, and Rory can be on. There's no question. This man can be, and frequently is, the greatest driver of the golf ball on the planet. But not every day, and he certainly wasn't yesterday. And he had a bad day at the wrong time on the wrong course, and it showed on his scorecard. Those 4 bogeys in a row to finish, that was not pretty.
Not related to the PGA Championship, but other big news that we got: the Utah State Amateur Champ gets to play in the PGA Tour's Bank of Utah Championship this fall at Black Desert. So just a huge opportunity for the Utah State Amateur Champ. Does it add a couple more names to the field? What's the impact of this opportunity going to be for the State Amateur Championship?
What a great question. I can't wait to see how this plays out. First of all, mad props to Black Desert and Bank of Utah for doing this with the UGA. I'm really interested, really excited to see the State Am Champ tee it up in on that stage against those players on that course. That'll be an awfully lot of fun to watch. And State Am Champs tend to be college players who are normally planning to build a pro career anyway. So this will be an incredible opportunity if, in fact, the State Am Champ ends up being one of those players again. It'll be an incredible opportunity, a great stepping stone and a measuring time in that player's development. But it's just going to be fun to watch and fun to see. I'm really looking forward to it.
Who's going to end up victorious in this weekend's tournament?
Great question. look, I think when you look at that leaderboard, first of all, at the end of yesterday's play, and they're still out on the course as you and I are talking right now, so we don't know how day 2 will fall. But at the end of day 1, at the end of yesterday, there were 48 players within 3 shots of the lead. That's the most ever in the history of all the majors all time, which means that it can be anybody, and everybody's in position to make a splash if they can put up a good number today and go into the weekend and do it again. But you have to look at players who have proven they can do it. And you look on the leaderboard and you see names like Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Patrick Reed, Hideki Matsuyama. You see players who have won majors, who have proved they can withstand this crucible and walk out the other side. Those are the players you have to start looking at. And then after that, look at players who are ready to become stars. Again, the PGA Championship tends to be a place where players who are ready to become stars do so. And the name I like there is Min Woo Lee. You look at this guy, he's got all of the components, all of the pieces and parts, all of the characteristics to be a star. He just needs to take the step and grab it. This might be the week that Min Woo Lee does that.
Paul, I love picking your brain about golf. You're an encyclopedia of knowledge, and thanks so much for once again offering your expertise on our show.
Oh, you're sure welcome. Always fun. Thank you for having me.
Paul Pugmire, president of First Tee Utah, host of Utah Golf Radio right here on ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM. Before we take our final break, the PGA Tour leaderboard update at the PGA Championship is brought to you by Uinta Golf. Join us right now at Uinta Golf by Worldwide Golf for the Mizuno Fitting Week. All the way through Sunday, May 17th, test Mizuno's JPX woods and irons at your local Uinta Golf stores, all up and down the Wasatch Front.
The only irons you'll ever use, Mizuno.
You'll never see me swinging anything else.
Aldrich Potgieter, I don't know if maybe he's using Mizuno irons because he's leading. He's at 5 under. Alex Smalley is solo in second at 4 under, and then we got a handful of guys tied for third at 3 under, 2 shots off the lead, including Min Woo Lee, who you just heard Paul Pugmire shout out as a dark horse candidate to win this tournament. He's looking pretty strong so far. 2 shots off the lead. Hideki Matsuyama in that group as well. Tied for 7th. There's like a million guys tied for 7th, OC. Cameron Young in there. Scotty Scheffler in there. Jason Day's in there. Brooks Koepka is in there. Koepka, by the way, feeling really good about how he left Live Golf, was it last year? Well before the Saudi money dried up. And doing pretty well so far in the top 10. No Tony Finau in this field did not qualify, and you heard John Wright yesterday, OC, talk about typically because PGA Championship is for a lot of your local golf pros get to play in this too, PGA of America guys, and we got a ton of great ones here in Utah, and for the first time in a really long time, unfortunately, those guys did not qualify, so we don't have any of local golf pros in the field either. That's usually a fun story. So tough for our local guys not in the field, but Aldrich Potgieter, your leader, the South African, at 5 under so far. That's your PGA Tour leaderboard update brought to you by Uinta Golf.
Well done, James. Well done, Uinta Golf. All right, we're going to give away a round of golf to Nibley Park, courtesy of our Festival of Tees, brought to you by the Utah Golf Association and powered by Mountain Home Services. I've got a trivia question for you. It's not going to be a golf trivia question. It's going to be a hockey trivia question, all right? The Vegas Golden Knights advance to the Western Conference Finals. They will take on the Colorado Avalanche. There's been one player in particular for the Las Vegas Golden Knights who's been an absolute nightmare in these playoffs, and he was against the Utah Mammoth as well. The trivia question may or may not be related to him. Wink, wink. It's the Sean O'Connell Show on ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM. Welcome back to the Sean O'Connell Show. I have a round of golf to Nibley Park, courtesy of the Festival of Tees, powered by the Utah Golf Association and Mountain Home Services. The Las Vegas Golden Knights eliminated the Anaheim Ducks last night. They advanced to take on the Colorado Avalanche in the NHL Western Conference Finals. So somebody already texted in an answer to the trivia question I haven't even asked yet. Well done. I like 7761. I appreciate you trying to get ahead of it by predicting what my question is going to be. However, you're wrong. Currently, the playoff goal scoring leader is a man on the Vegas Golden Knights. And he was really good against the Utah Mammoth. He has continued to be good in these 2026 NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. Who is the current goals leader? Only in the playoffs this year. Who is the current goals leader? Hint, hint, it is one of the Vegas Golden Knights. Really good players who was a thorn in the side of the Utah Mammoth.
They have the
735-30700.
They have the points leader too. Different guy.
Yes.
Like they're on fire right now. I'm not sure they're good enough to beat the Avs, but they're one of those teams, OC, that when you watch them, whether it's NBA, NHL, NFL, when you watch them play in the regular season, you're like, you're good, but like you disappoint me too much. And then they get to the playoffs because they have a lot of veterans, and they're like, well, we're going to lean on our experience, and we're going to figure out ways to win. And it feels like there's no ceiling for a team like that. That's how the Golden Knights feel in this year's playoffs.
It's crazy because they actually have the top 3 goal scorers in the league in these playoffs. So the top 3 are all Knights. And none of those 3 are the guy who sells the most jerseys. So you can make
little hint for you there.
You can make an argument that the star of the team is not the guy leading in goals, playoff goals, second or third, and the points leader that you just referenced is one of the 3. But we're asking for the goals leader in this current playoff.
Yeah, it's frustrating because we hate Vegas now.
Ooh, I can't stand you and your stupid Gila Monster mascot.
And we got it.
I actually think it's a cool mascot, but whatever.
And now the alternative is rooting for the Avs?
No.
Just go Eastern Conference, all right?
Yeah, I guess
Canadians or Hurricanes or Sabres. Let's go.
Yeah, like I either have to root for a French-Canadian team, although I have good experiences in Montreal, so maybe that's where I'd have to go. A Buffalo team, or the team with the worst logo in all of professional sports in the East, or our 2 regional rivals in the West. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
It's bad options. At least the last couple of years, you had a really fun Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl Oilers team that could just score a lot of goals. Or if you like the physicality of the hockey physicality, you had the Florida Panthers bullying everybody. Like this year, it's just like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like great options unless you're a fan of one of those teams.
Made a big deal out of the start of the show today, talking about how fascinating it is that the NFL has eventized everything. And I think it's a method that every league should follow, that every sports property, every entertainment property should follow. I'm going to have this exact discussion in a more measured and serious way with my bosses at the PFL, because I think it's really important that you manufacture some level of hype around an event. That you're seeing the best example of this weekend. This will be the last thing I talk about before we turn it over to the drive. The Ronda Rousey Gina Carano fight, headlining the MVP promotions card. Mike Perry, Nick Diaz, Francis Ngannou, Felipe Lins, who I love Felipe Lins. Felipe Lins actually won the heavyweight championship of the PFL the same year I won the light heavyweight championship. He's a really good fighter. He's being brought in to be sacrificed to Francis Ngannou. So that fight's not expected to be good. Gina Carano and Ronda Rousey have a combined 27 years since their last MMA fight. And Mike Perry, Nick Diaz will probably be pretty fun, but I don't think either guy is getting finished in that one. The reason I bring this up is the fights are not going to be great. It's just they got famous people to headline these things, and then they've built this whole thing around it, and it makes it feel like an event. And because Netflix is involved and Netflix has the budget to just be like, yeah, put them on everything. Let's go.
And apparently Jake Paul and his team and MVP Productions are just incredible at this.
That's what they're good at. Like, Jake Paul is the example of this. He makes it an event. You knew that Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson was not going to be compelling boxing. You still wanted to watch it. Now they're trying to do it with MMA, and the fights aren't good. Like, I'm telling you, the fights are not going to be good. Not the big ones, not the headliners. There's actually the USA debut of a really good fighter named Saladin Parnasse. You should try to watch him. But the headliner's going to suck. And yet, you and I will be watching it, and we will be talking about how it looked and what it ended up being on Monday, because the event is what we're really looking for. We are sports fans, yes, but we are event fans even more in the United States of America, and the NFL understands that better than anybody. I need for Utah football, Utah basketball, Big 12, everything to somehow adopt that strategy.
I have to shout out one of our texters on the way out.
Okay.
I think totally on purpose, not a typo at all. The winner, the answer to the trivia question is not Jack Eichel. This texter, it was Kurt, texting in Jack Suckle with the CH spelling. I think that was totally on purpose. Shout out to you, Kurt.
Yeah,
you,
Kurt
you did not. You did not win, but shout out to you.
It did autocorrect to that. Well done. It's Pavel Dorofeev. He's been awesome. All right, we'll turn you over to the Drive with Spence Checketts. He's in West Bountiful today at Murdoch Chrysler Jeep Dodge. So swing by, test drive a car, tell Spence hello, and enjoy the show. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll do it again on Monday. Sean O'Connell Show, ESPN 700 and 92.1 FM.